And we are live, maybe just with 2 seconds into live. Welcome to the show. Let's have a good Friday night. And that's the most stressful part of the evening over, although I probably should have increased the volume of the music for the intro. I'll get there. Third time lucky. Today we are joined by the wonderful Pete, who's definitely not 50. He's way past that. We've got Rohan. We've got Alexis and Andy. Wonderful Alexis, wonderful Andy. But yeah, we've got Pete and Rohan. We're going to have some sort of intellectual conversations tonight. But we are missing Paul, the birthday boy. You know, he's out for a nice dinner. So have a great birthday, Paul. We're all going to be missing you.
Love you, dude.
Rohan's got a birthday message for you later. You told me.
I can sing it for you later.
He's going to sing the theme tune live.
Happy birthday to Paul. Happy birthday to
I've been working on this all day. It's a rendition of Captain Planet, but instead it's Captain Paul.
Oh. Are you going to do it in the style of the girl who jumps at the cake and Under Siege?
No.
Oh.
Fantastic reference for all our younger viewers.
I don't even know
Steven Seagal.
If you don't know the movie, go watch it. Steven Seagal.
We're talking about Steven Seagal. He's a bit of a useless fat twat, isn't he? Really now.
An interesting link.
When I was like
Hi, Steven.
Still slap the shit out of you, mate.
No, I don't actually think so. In fact, I could pretty much he's a
big lad. He's a big lad, like tall. He's tall.
He's a big lad. He can't get off his fucking chair.
Don't waste the discussion now.
Let's go.
I might have a stick.
You know, and the news is going to be done by the wonderful Andy from North.
We're doing
some TV, and now the news. Don't touch that dial.
I was going to say we're doing top 5 today in discussion. Is it top 5 Steven Seagal movies?
Happy birthday, Paul! It is Paul's birthday. That was the top of the news. That's the main news story of the whole day.
That was Andy. That's the expression of Andy's Paul's face when Andy was giving him his birthday present.
Oh,
that's taken from my point of view there. Anyway,
I thought that was Steven Seagal trying to stand up.
Let's get into the news. So we had this guy, which is the leaked Studio 86 Junkion scrap heap. So this is the next Junkion that we're getting. Pete has already pre-ordered, even though they're not up. He's found a way. He loves Junkion.
I just don't understand. I just don't understand how many Junkions. I don't understand.
I feel like you need to give that more context.
What don't you understand?
They're Junkion.
We need some meat. Just
from the planet Junkion.
Hey, I've got 2 of each of them. You need loads of them.
Pete, mate, it's the same as fingers. You need a lot of those. Here, take 2 more.
Yeah, but fingers are useful.
I know. I just gave you 2.
Oh my god! And there you go. And there's their scrap heap. So it's another Junkion. We don't know exactly when it's coming out. It's not actually officially we haven't had a date or a release of it. But there's the back of his head for all those who really want to have a look at it. You can see the dials.
Calm down, Alexis.
He does like the back shot.
It's the actual physical back.
Is the Yolo Park Transformers Bumblebee Mirage model kit Pro Series? So I'm assuming that means it's a little bit tougher. And there's their version of Soundwave.
He looks cool.
Rhinox.
That looks really good.
And also Cheetor.
Yeah, okay.
And I forget which show this was from, but obviously it was from a show. And that takes us on to the releases, or rather the waves that were going to get released after this first wave. So last week we saw the Transformers Legacy United. We saw all of Wave 1, so we know what's in that. And this is the rumors from, is it JT Prime 77, I think he goes by, who I think pretty much every leak that he's given us, or at least every tip that he's given us on who's coming, has proven to be correct. So this is what he says is in Wave 2. So you've got Cheetor and Dinobot and Core Class. You've got Sure Shot. I hope it comes with his Target Master partner. Gears as well. You've got a Cyberverse Chromia. Deluxe Rock 2, so I'm assuming some form of that rock, whatever they were. The ones from the
Dwayne
Headmaster
Johnson.
thing, yeah. The Rock, yeah, that'd be great. Or a sequel to the classic film. Beast Wars Silverbolt, which we may see again later on in the news. Voyager Cybertron Starscream, which I'm pleased about because I like that version of Starscream. And a Leader Sandstorm, which has produced much debate about why is it Leader Class? What do you get? Makes it Leader Class?
Was Blitzwing Leader Class?
Yes,
He was, but mostly that was because you came with like some bits and pieces. Yeah, those stupid fists, which everybody thought were for a combiner, but they're not. The designers just thought, let's give him big energon fists so he could punch people in the face really hard.
That's when gimmicks go bad.
When gimmicks go bad. Coming to Channel 5. Wave 3
80s.
has another one of those rock things.
Where's the meme? I should like to fist him.
Indeed, that would have actually worked then. We're getting a deluxe Robots in Disguise Sideburn. Lots of people seem to like Sideburn, I presume, from the series. I don't really remember him in it because I don't like that series. I didn't enjoy it much. Cybertron Hotshot, another deluxe Rock Lord type thing. It's not a Rock Lord, is it? A lot of people wanted Rock Lords, but they're not.
They're not.
And then you've got Strong Arm. What's Strong Arm PR? Oh, package refresh. And then Voyager Cybertron Vector Prime, which again, because I love that figure, I'm looking forward to that one. And Leader Armada Galvatron. There's no mention of Thrust on here, is there? But he's on the packaging. Jamie, have you got the
Armada Thrust?
I've seen Armada Thrust.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Rohan, you dick. He's so excited,
all right, Jamie, calm down. Calm down. It's not Alexis. It's all right. Calm down.
This is not a democracy.
I'm doing the opposite of Alexis. I'm getting the show going faster.
And then we've got Wave 4.
No, you're not.
Wave 4, which isn't till October of next year, and that's going to have a core Energon Galvatron, which will be a repaint, obviously. Deluxe G1 Optimus Prime, Deluxe Slipstream. We're getting a G1 Quake, again, hopefully with Target Masters, an animated Motor Master, which is obviously going to be based on the animated Optimus Prime, who's in Wave 1, and a pack refresh of Metal Hawk. And was there anyone more at the bottom? I think there was. Yes, Leader Soundwave. So surely that's going to come with the tapes.
Yes.
Is it going to be a new mold though? Because like the last one, wasn't it really good?
Is it going to be
They'll
Generation
do
1?
Slight change, wouldn't it? But I want Buzzsaw. A Buzzsaw, and I think they should just give us a Masterpiece Ravage. It doesn't matter if the kit set doesn't fit in the fucking deck. I don't care. Just give us the Masterpiece Ravage. You know,
these engineering to get us
Jamie,
one.
that's so good.
This Star Seekers capsule, you get. It says Deluxe 1. I'm not sure what that exactly is. Anyway. You also get Road Pig, Lockdown, Filch. I almost said the wrong word then. Ferrac and Leader Thundertron, which apparently will be the same toy as the one they've revealed, but the paint on it may be slightly different. Yeah, you know what I was talking about, Alexis.
Jamie,
yeah.
oh, sorry. I mean, Andy, sorry. Just read the third name from bottom and then the foot and the penultimate name just back to back, really fast.
Yeah, move on.
Felch
Move on.
Ferrac.
Felch, would you say Felch Freak?
No, you did.
Oh.
Just then. Right, moving on. Filthy animal. Right, this is from, is it Figure Kingdom in Japan, their magazine, and loads of product shots of a lot of the stuff that's either coming out or has just come out. So there's all of like the Earthspark toys. I don't think there's any differences with the Japanese ones, is there? Anybody aware
yes,
of any?
the paint mold looks sharper. The slight color, and it seems to be a better finish.
Yeah, it does look
overall.
better,
Yeah.
So there you go. There's some of them. And I mean, know.
Takada in Japan Takada and Hasbro had a deal, but Hasbro said, listen, Takada, stop making improvements and making the figures much better like they should have been. Make them pish like we do. We go to great lengths to have poor quality control, and you're showing us up. But obviously, Takada have not listened and decided they actually care about their customers, so actually doing good products.
Are they actually coming with those little human figures as well?
I believe, well, I don't know if this is just the Japanese ones, but they're pictured with them, so I assume so, yeah.
Cool.
That's quite interesting.
And just for when we do the next 10 shots, 10 bots, some one-steppers that we can all mess up the transformation of live on air. So there you go. Lovely.
That's never coming back, mate. We're too old.
I hope not.
That's for young men like Pete and Arrowfire.
Was this the Studio Series Optimus Prime? It is, isn't it? Because the Japanese one, the Takara one, has a slightly different paint job that's much more fierce. I mean, look at that head sculpt. You
can actually see the detail in the face now on that one.
Yeah. Amazing stuff. Anyway, then we've got Mirage there and Nightbird and loads of the toys that we've already seen. Although these ones down here, are these smaller? These are the core class. Have we seen these before?
Well, I've actually got the RC one there.
Yeah, I was just looking at is it Leo Prime? That's I don't think we've seen that before, have we? Before this, and then we've got a little core class Scourge as well, and an Air Razor.
That looks better than the Chug version. That little core class. He's not Captain fucking Parrot.
Ultra Magnus, who some people may have, so we won't dwell on that for too long. I like that mode of just standing him up with the cab. And then we've got the ones that we've already seen that are out, I think, in Smiths now as well, Detritus, and all the ones that are now out that everybody can just get. And the movie Masterpiece stuff, and again, lots of the stuff we've seen before, but it's there. And of course, the what do they call it again?
Missing Link.
Missing Link, yeah, Missing Link Prime. A little bit of the design process and stuff for that. So looking kind of cool. Right, moving on. YOLO Park. Just loads of YOLO Park stuff at the moment. This is their Dark of the Moon, Rise of the Beast Scourge, 22 centimeters model kit, and it's very detailed. If you want a statue of Scourge that moves, this is perfect.
It's like YOLO Park have taken over from 3.0, right, and making the sort of like the.
Well, it's affordable, isn't it? Isn't that the difference?
Right? Yeah.
Like 3.0 was ridiculous prices, really. I mean, I'm not saying the quality wasn't worth it, but it's very high end stuff.
3.0 is all die-cast, right? This is plastic. That's the
Speaking of
right?
die-cast, this isn't.
It's half the price. It's half the price. Well, this one.
This is Optimus Prime model kit, which features die-cast apparently. So there you go.
That looks awesome.
It does look really good. Again, if you're just wanting a figure of Optimus Prime, not bothered about it transforming.
20 centimeters.
It's cool. He has a little flip-out visor thing.
So 6.5 inches. Okay, so that's quite small then.
Yeah, I mean it'll fit with your chugs.
It would. It'd be, make everything else look really good around it.
But anyway, it's looking good. And what else did you get? Oh, the Megatron. Yeah, I almost forgot about the Megatron. So you get this golden colors, which I assume was from that one episode of the G1 cartoon.
The Golden Lagoon.
Gold. Exactly. And there you go. Does it canon light up? Or
I thought it was more like a James Bond crossover.
The man.
He is the golden gun. Maybe. That would work, although I don't think there's anything on there that suggests it's got anything to do with James Bond because they might get sued. But that would still work. And then this broke today. So they aren't the best images, but from Takara. Takara, we got Silverbolt. Who's playing music?
Who do you think?
From Zootropolis.
That didn't work.
What the hell? Oh, it is. It is. It's not me. You think it was me? It's Jamie.
I tell you what, I'm going to fucking kill my wife. It's my wife. She just set the bloody Alexa off. She'll be start laughing her head off. Oh, I'm going to kill you, Claire. Anyway, right, there you go.
If she could just do that.
Sorry, my son just stopped.
We're looking for someone new to come on to do the news. Someone professional. You don't need to be tall, but it would
help. Stop it, didn't I?
Not professional.
Anyway, here is Novocaine. I think that's what it's called.
That is correct.
And, it looks pretty good. But yeah.
Novocaine, is he a dentist drill or something?
Look at that. I love the Japanese. I mean, they really go for it, don't they?
Well, I mean, the Hasbro version is just grey, isn't it? At least this one has some colour.
Andy, go back there. Go back an image. I mean, look at the penis. There's no way that was an accident.
I mean, his arm.
That's his drill.
Jamie, you do tend to bring these things up.
I mean, sometimes
your obsession is quite worrying.
Mainline thinks it's an arm, and I go, no, my arm's here, and I'm waving.
That's the anaesthetic, Jamie. That's the anaesthetic before he drills you.
Oh, dear. Anyway, this is the Masterpiece Rhinox, isn't it, as well, which a lot of Rhinox fans are getting excited about.
There's been a lot of Rhinox love recently.
Yeah, he's getting quite a few figures. I mean, slightly different lines, I suppose, but yeah. And I think the Arrowfire, rather, he was saying about how, it's a difficult figure to kind of do as a Masterpiece thing. So it's taken a while for them to get it done. But It is coming. We are going to get it. And then more art gallery have done some more awesome prints. And again, not sponsored. Just before Paul starts ranting wherever he is, not sponsored. We just like the guys. And we like their art. So you've got this lovely print of Starscream, which I think comes in two slightly different colors. Because you see that one's a slightly darker. There were two pictures on the website.
Was that?
And then
look at the phone. That the phone
look
changes
at that,
color.
That's the detail and everything is just lovely. And then there's this print of Starscream holding Megatron and with his cheeky little smile. There you go.
Gorgeous, isn't it?
And there you go. That's the kind of mainline news.
Nice. It almost looked like the MP there. I had to double take for a second.
And now we're going to have some exciting, maybe, third-party news.
Believe it or not, this is the fun part.
Oh dear.
Why'd you start with this? Why start with this trash?
I'm gonna kill her. She's just tried setting off the music again while that was playing. Right. Okay. So here you go. You shared this, didn't you?
Yeah,
trash, as you call it. You shared it. You must.
X-Transbots are trying to do some sort of love child of Inferno and Rodimus, and then they've got a dark version as well. I put one photograph on really of each because
it's based off this, though, isn't it? It's based off this concept art that never came to fruition. This was concept art they did for a Rodimus Prime figure that was going to be a fire engine.
Okay.
And that's all. They've taken the Inferno mold and just said, yeah, screw it, let's do that.
Wasn't that from the Transart line, which was supposed to be the Beast Machine sequel, which never got made?
Yeah, it never came to fruition, did it?
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
you know,
tapping
into that. Yeah, pretty much. Right, moving on. So Macross are doing the Jetfire figure in Jetfire colours.
Hang on, but this isn't
Graham
is
from
it?
Controversial. Well, it's not Hasbro, so it's gone in with third party. So there you go.
Right. Okay. It's too good to be Hasbro, so it looks too good.
Well,
to be Hasbro,
I will say this: it does look flipping good. I mean, if you're wanting a G1 style Jetfire figure, because let's be honest, they're not easy to source and certainly not in good condition, then this is an option. Primetime Toys, Graham from Primetime Toys was the one who shared this with us, and yeah, it's looking.
It's quite pricey as well, isn't it?
How much
was it?
2,500 yen. This is on there.
How much is that in?
Let me get my
pounds. Pounds sterling, Rohan.
Hey, Pete's the old man. He knows how to work things out. Come on, Pete.
Because he's old.
I've run out of fingers.
Anyway, it costs money, so there you go. It will
2,500 yen's £13.71.
Oh man, I got it wrong.
I told you it was pricey.
It may not be 2,500 yen. Please don't hold us to that.
I thought it was 500 yen's like about £2, isn't it? I know because I've been to Japan quite a few times.
It took you a long time to tell us that, though, Jamie. It's almost like you just Googled it.
No, I said 500 yen. I didn't know about
Sorry, go back to the shot, bottom left corner. You can see the light up. It lights up all the jets. Look at that, all the lights.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's going to light up.
That's pretty good.
The chat, you get between 125 and 180, so about 150, call it.
That's not too bad, actually. That's not too bad considering it's actually got electronics in it as well.
And it's 1/72. How big is that, Alexis? You're the scale master.
Oh fuck!
Move on.
Moving on. Right. Okay. So the next thing, which you just saw a sneaky preview of. So what's this, Alexis?
This is X-Transbots hauler. Is it hauler? Not hauler. Loader.
Yeah, it's called. They've called him Big Load, which really amuses me. Big Load.
So, which is nice because again, it'd be interesting to see how this combines. And then there's Vectron Labs, which I don't know. That looks pretty wanky to me. I don't know about you guys.
Do you think? I think that looks all right.
It's a very cartoonesque.
Go back if you go back. So I thought X-Transbot looked cartoonesque. But I think that just looks like Magic Square.
That looks
plastic
like Magic Square.
That looks better. I think that's got the plastic. That looks mushy. I mean, that looks like a prototype, obviously, as well. So
yeah,
I don't know. Vectron Labs there's rumors all around them, so good and bad. So
I honestly don't care. But yeah,
I still got my Magic Touch blaster. What? I'm guessing that's a reference to something. Okay, somebody will know in the chat, I'm sure. Right, we move on. So
this is interesting as well. Studio One, who did Unicron,
when there was Studio Cell, yeah.
Studio Cell.
Change of name.
Yep.
And they have revealed some pictures,
they're doing Primus. And if you can see on the left-hand side as well, they've also got a Devastator, which will be MP scale. And they've got all their bots there in prototype as well. So not often do you see all the bots released at the same time. Normally, you get them drip-fed, which really annoys most people. But releasing them all at the same time helps people decide straight away, are you in or are you out?
They are in different levels of production, though. You can see Mixmaster is nowhere near done.
They also showed Primus for ants.
Could you have got a small picture?
These were the pictures that they released. Numbnuts, so no. But you would have managed.
Wouldn't it be easy?
This is the Primus.
Would it be easier to look up into the sky and try and spot the nearest planet? It'd be closer.
Well, it still wouldn't be Primus, would it?
Alexis, why didn't you do that?
You couldn't tell.
Why didn't you do the fucking news one? Anyway, moving on. Kang Toys.
I have no idea what this is here. Unless they're releasing a different version of Razor Claw, I have no idea. I know they're doing the gold version, which no one's buying at the moment because it's on sale everywhere. But are they doing something different with this? I couldn't tell the difference between. I was looking at it and looking at mine. I was like, is there a difference?
I know Ian said he was interested in this, so they must.
They're doing the Dinobots.
Have you got these already then?
Yeah, they're doing Dinobots, and they're doing
this
the
is the Dinobot version. Yeah.
No, that's not the Dinobot version.
But this is what it's leading into. If you just give us a minute to get onto it, shut your mouth, and we'll move on. There you go. And we're getting a lovely gold version for all those people who like gold.
And
then
that's
looks like
already
Ravage.
out. That's out.
Yeah, that looks like, is that Alternator Ravage? Because it's got like a car part.
Got car parts.
Yeah, this is out. It turns into a Jaguar car.
Oh yes, I think we saw this, didn't we?
This is old. That's
what
new.
About this? There you go then. Shut your mouth. And we move on. So is that Swoop?
That's a Swoop. Yep.
Wow, that is a stylized Swoop.
The next picture, this is why I wasn't sure because it's grayed out that element. I was like, okay, so are they doing a different version of Razor Claw, which is non-stylized?
I tried to show how they're going to kind of, I'm guessing they're going to do a Volcanicus using the molds.
It looks the same.
Well, that will do because they've used parts from the original. So
what?
There you go. The
Predator. No, that's the same. That's
Transformers a show where you get the most relevant of third-party
news.
If you
zoom in, it's a lion's head in the middle there.
There's no relevant third-party news, Pete. We know that now. And that's the news.
The comment is really big for anybody else.
It survived.
Well,
the chat knows why
I've been finding it quite tough because Mainline's off to America. She left this morning. So since 5:30 this morning, I've been on by myself and I've not eaten yet. Lucky enough, I did find drink in the fridge, so I'm able to survive on fluids. But
Jamie, you should have said I would have ordered you a pizza, my friend.
Yeah, she's not back until Monday.
Hey, we know he can cook.
Go.
We've seen his culinary creations. We look forward to seeing more of his culinary creations. We'll stick him in the news next week.
Pete's quite cruel when I make a culinary creation and take a photo of it.
I don't know what you mean, Jamie. What do you mean?
But anyway, after that riveting third-party news, where it's a wonderful discussion about gold stuff, we're now on to pickups.
Oh, crap.
And we're going to be...
We now return to the Transformers.
Having a review of Ratchet, Studio Series 86 Ratchet. This bad boy here, who comes in a wonderful box with a sort of like, background card thingy, a jig in the background, which I don't think many people really use, to be honest. Especially with the amount of figures you have, you don't have space, do you? You must all be fighting for this space at this moment. But anyway, I'm just going to share some screen time. So there we have Ratchet. And I'm just going to take off the conversation there, lads, just to make some more space. Yes. So, Studio Series 86 Ratchet, and I think he came in Thursday morning, and I went straight away to taking photographs. And my God, I hated it. It's because I've been working, I'm teaching and stuff like that. So I was just knackered, and I was trying to do it, but I really just wanted to get them out of the way. But it's also because I was quite excited. And I mean, nice, good, colourful box. I looked at it. I was checking that face. He's got a bit of a fucked nose. Actually, it's almost like someone punched it. But I think that's the mold, not my figure. as such. I think the original mold nose is much better, but there's Ratchet there, and it's like Ratchet, a new dawn, a new day. You know, although he didn't have many new days to come, did he? Bearsod. But yes, new dawn, a new day, and yes, he's very much the cartoon colors. You know, Transformers the movie 86, but basically the cartoon colors with the older Ratchet. Earthrise one was very much like the comic colors, wasn't it, Andy? Or you know, a variation of what the comic colors, because comics could wildly vary in size, scale, and any type of ink is had that day. But yes, and he's good. Okay, but he's basically just Ironhide, and I just think they would have been nice with some improvements. I do wish the hands would open and close. I think that should start to become a standard now, especially if we have to pay £4 more. I would. If it goes up to 30 quid, I think that would make all the difference. I do think the skirt should have been 3 sections. That one skirt where it just flaps open ups and down, you know, that's just pure show. They've had a whole year. They could have just done something like that. I think that would have been brilliant, you know. And it
Lovely
just makes me think, are they going to bring out another Ratchet which has a skirt? Is that going to be the improvement? And of course, Saps like me would probably buy it. But yes, what they could have done was make it, instead of using a metal pin for it, is make it a clip. So it would have been easier to replace it. I think they should start thinking, because thinking about Ultra Magnus, which I got this week, which is brilliant, which is very modular based, you know, by design. I think they should start doing all the Transformers kind of modular based at that, where limbs come off. Because I think with the QC issues, if you had that modular based like Ultra Magnus is, QC issues are less annoying because you can swap parts easily enough.
That's the good thing
and
about
you can get third-party add-ons. Yeah.
It's a lovely blue, Jamie. The windscreen's a lovely blue, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
You capture that well.
I think that's the hardest thing I have. I mean, I know it's not so much a review when I'm talking about the photography aspect, but taking a picture when white is really difficult because you want to get the detail of the white plastic, but you also don't want to make it dull where you do the other colors and injustice. And it's a wonderful blue screen, especially when you shine that light on it. And it, you know, and it's and you don't want to mask that screen at all because it's just nice. It's colorful, it's cool. You want to see what's inside the sort of working parts, and it's the one thing I did like about this figure is the way it does look. And you know, apart from the nose, but obviously a lot of people have got bad eyesight now. You're above 40, you probably won't notice that. It's just young people like me who are going to have that issue. But as you were saying, there's a sort of darker, duller one. There's the sort of picture I went for, you know, lighten it up a bit, give the colours a bit more justice. And he's just a great figure, you know. And it feels like you're getting I mean, I think that's why I'm starting to focus on the QC issues now. You're starting to focus on the skirt because a couple of years back, you'd have been like, you know, falling to the ground and going, thank you, God, for this wonderful figure. This is the best thing ever. Many masterpiece. Now it's like, no, this is what you should be improving on. This has got to be better, you know. And it's, and I just think it's a wonderful use of Ironhide mold because we knew when you had Iron mold, you're obviously going to get Ratchet. The way it folds like Ironhide did, it's brilliant. I mean, I just didn't think they could do it, and they have. So plus points to the engineering. I just wanted, you know, hands to open and close. I wanted that skirt to go up and down. I don't like the idea of the clear plastic when it comes to the transformation of the van because I kid you not, you've got to really push in to get those final tabs in on the roof section. And the van is majestic again. It's good for chug. It's good money for your buck. You know, I mean, Ratchet's about, is he $24.99? I think he's about that price.
33, isn't he? For
the
Studio Series one.
Studio Series is a bit more.
No money on anymore. I just go pre-order has no. I just take order. 33 quid, dear God. You know? But yes, I mean, put the guns at the back. He's got 2 exhausts. I quite like that, the way the storage of the gun. Pete seems to be in shock. But yes, you know,
is he all right?
He doesn't look good. Someone should go around there and check on it.
Has he thrown another 50p in, Pete?
Poor Pete.
I'm starting to get a bit worried. I might have to take his
Can make Pete big for a second?
No, we're not because we're doing a review. But Yes, it's if you like this figure's good in both modes, and it's very much like Ironhide was, and it reminds you of Braun. They're knocking it out the park. They really are. And it's a beautiful figure. I can see why they couldn't do the Red Cross because obviously the mark and stuff like that. I'm glad he's had a connection issue. I was a bit worried there because I was thinking, I'm going to have to text his partner. But yes, Ratchet, medical extraordinaire, fantastic Autobot, and is essential for your collection. I think he's I think if you've got the FI's one, tough luck. You should get this. I think he's a big enough improvement to get.
I agree.
And I think you should just get it. And it's a good figure. It's all round a good figure. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to go off and I'll do a quick comparison in a second. But I just wanted to talk about the picture I took as well, just to give you an idea. So there's the final image which you saw, and I just done this today, and there was the original image. Oh. So all I've done is basically just clean it up slightly, and just sort of pop the colors more. Now I could actually do that with the camera before I took the setting, but I use a CRV file, so basically I've got all that light image there, so there's nothing actually lost. So I could do it in the camera, or I could just do it in the PC. It's quite quick to do, because I actually have that when I look at the screen, what I see there, and there's the image you can save it to. So it's a quick bit, and there was just an idea of the setup I'm using.
Wow.
Just to give you an idea of the sort of light. So I had a lot of light because I wanted to bring out the detail of the white, and because Ratchet's got that face guard over his face, it does tend to cast quite a shadow onto his face, so it's a bit brighten up his face so you can see these sort of eyes better.
It's a huge enhancement and amazing setup.
So it was just to give you an idea, sort of like behind the screen, etc. But I'm just going to make myself big for a second. So actually, I don't know. So yes. So there you have the original AFI's Ratchet, and there you have Studio Series Ratchet. And to be honest, I would definitely get the Studio Series Ratchet. AFI's Ratchet is good. It's a good figure. You can still use some of the accessories, which are quite fun and cool, But yes, I much prefer the AFI's. Studio Series 86 Transformers movie Ratchet to give his full name, and the van mode is just majestic.
Wow, that was a quick transformation.
Very quick. It's a good job this is pre-recorded, and everyone always seems to think it's live.
Lightning fast.
Yes, I know.
Whoa.
It's always trying to get it sort of back to there.
You, sir.
Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do pickups with other people, then I'll do my pickups. That way it gives a bit of a break for a review, because I've already talked enough, and to be honest, I'm boring myself to death as it is. But hopefully that was giving you an idea of Studio Series 86 Ratchet. I really recommend it. Please get it. And if you ever want any sort of advice on photography, please ask, because that setup is after 6 years of me starting off. So I've slowly built that over 6 years. I did not start with that. I've slowly built up. And I've got lots of advice from people in the community to help me.
Can I ask one quick question on your setup, please? Sorry to just
drag
on for a little bit. You
Pete's
mentioned
alive.
about doing it for 6 years. Would you say anything over that 6-year period? What would you say the biggest game changer was for you? What would you say that you added to your setup that was, in your mind's eye, the biggest game changer for you?
Electricity.
The biggest game changer, which changed everything.
Toilet by the
I would say it was advice given from the Transformers UK forum by a member who used to be part of the admin team. I've forgotten her name. Andy, you remember? It's the female member of the admin team. I've forgotten her name.
Emily Pugh.
Emily Pugh. Yeah, so I've been speaking to Emily Pugh on Twitter and Transformers the forum, and she gave me advice on using backing card, and she told me about using a sort of lamp and shine it down, and she said it would like make yourself a light box, create the illusion, and she said you could just crop so you don't have that. So I used the white card and I used the lamp, just followed the advice she did. She sent me over some images and shots, And it was really good because she took her time, and I was speaking to her on Twitter as well, so she was really nice on Twitter, and she was really nice on Facebook. So this made me think everyone was nice on Twitter, and how naive I was. But yes, and that was a game changer, because apart from that, you had everything in your hand. It was just about taking the time. And I think it's about processing, because the other game changer was not using apps. Apps suck. Apps degrade the quality of your images. Apps make you lazy. Apps, just don't bring anything. So using Clip Studio Art, which I picked up for like 20 quid, and it always seems to be in sale, I slowly built up how to process an image. Meaning when I got better tools for better software packages, I had the skill set already, because I'd done it the slow, methodical, very long way. So now I'm doing it. But I mean, I still process an image. You're talking about, it could take 4 to 5 hours of going through all those images and processing. It's easier with the diorama shots to process images because it's quicker, there's less to do. It's ironic, because when you do card shots, you've got more work to do, because everyone focuses on the figure with the card shot. When you're in a diorama, the background scenery hides the mistakes. It makes things simple. You don't need to worry about, a bit of dust there and a bit of speckle there, which would show in a card shot, because in a diorama it's masked, it's hidden.
Is this sort of card, like I use foam backing, foam board like that? Is that
no? She actually got, it was flexible card. It was like you would go from like the art shops, so you could put a cover.
That's from the art shop. Yeah, but yeah, I don't mean.
Yeah, and that was a big jump, and I owe a lot for Emily Pugh for that. And then obviously I've been given advice by Toybox Soapbox, Sexo, Fuji, Ian Owlfire, Rohan as well. I mean, everyone's always good advice. Yourself, Alexis, Andy. I mean, it's listening in and taking it in there. And John, not even John. I don't mean Andy. I'll get the way, but it's like everyone gives you bits and tips, and I love looking at other people's photos, and I love seeing what they've done and how they've done it and try to do it. And the worst thing is you don't want to copy someone. What you want to do is copy how the techniques are used, but not what they did. And that's why I always.
It's like watching a good porn video. You don't want to be the guy, but you want to copy that technique, like last as long as you can.
Do it your own way. Yeah,
that's it.
After that, now we've moved into porn. This is the perfect time to go into our own porn maestro, Rohan.
Excuse me.
Thank you. Lothario.
Brilliant.
Lazy lover.
My God, those comments are big this week.
I have Charlie's address if you want that.
Is there any way of making the comments smaller when they appear on the screen, Jamie? Because they're massive. People with cataracts are going to love it.
He's made everything
our audience.
He's made everything big, hasn't he? He's rubbed it all.
Hey.
Sorry, Rohan, this is your part.
That's all right. No worries. I haven't got a lot this week. I've only got 2 things to show, actually.
Make him big. Make him big.
Make them all big.
Give him a minute. Just give him a minute.
Shy.
They'll put the pressure on.
For the last few weeks, I've not had a lot of items coming through. I've got a few bits that are stacking up from China now, because like Alexis, I'm getting them all through in one go now.
That's interesting, buying from a country which has concentration camps. Is that what attracted you to buying from China? Yeah.
Well, it was mostly your comments, Jamie. No, actually, so I've got a few bits coming. I've got Rising Force drag strip, which is the 3rd member of the Menasor team from Rising Force, and I've got the other 2 up there, and they're pretty cool. They're low value but really cool toon looking figures. I've got Magic Squares, Onslaught, and Vortex. Sorry, not Onslaught. Onslaught's there. I've already reviewed them. Magic Squares, Vortex, the knockoff version of the Power of the Primes Battle Trap. Not Power of the Primes, Rise of the Beast, sorry. Power Battle Trap, which is that 16 or 17 quid one. So when it comes through, I'll show everyone, because it's like half the price of the Hasbro version. Anyway, so those bits are coming. This stuff came through the other day, but I didn't have a chance this week to open it. And you're all going to be really pissed off with me, but I've started army building a particular character from 2 or 3 years ago now. Can anybody
Can you give us a clue and we'll guess?
I'll give you a clue. I'll give you a clue. It's a deluxe figure, and it came in the
Voyager.
It came in the War for Cybertron trilogy line, and
Shockwave.
Very close. He's purple. He's purple.
The tank one.
Yeah, that's right. Jamie got it. I am tank. I am army building Brunts. So I've got 3 Brunts here. I've got another 6 Brunts upstairs, and I think 4 Centurion drones. So my plan is to have just loads and loads of Brunts and silver Brunts running around the place.
What do you call a collective of Brunts then? Like, I don't know. I haven't got a word for it.
Call it grunts.
Okay, so a group.
Or
cannon fodder.
What word rhymes with brunts?
And the other thing I got, which was a gift from the very lovely Mr. Jamie Liddell, is a Super GoBot in the guise of Leader 1. You can't kick me because it came from our leader from today. And he is absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much, sir. He is an I think 15 Falcon. I'm not a plane expert, but you guys probably 14. Know. But the transformation is really cool. Is in really good condition. So die-cast parts all up here on the chest, and as you transform him, just pull these bits down, put the wings around, flip the cockpit down. He's got working landing gear, and here we have the leader of the good guys, as they call them, the Guardians, Leader 1, with the great name that he had there. Unfortunately, he's missing a couple of wings, but he's really cool. Really, really nice little bot. Thank you so much, Jamie. I really appreciate it.
No,
that's
Jamie,
me.
kick yourself.
Andy, what have you picked up this week?
No Transformers, but I was inspired by Alexis. And it's not often I get to say that. I was inspired by Alexis last week and his incredibly expensive Battle Cat. And it inspired me because I realized I don't actually own a Battle Cat.
So you stole your neighbor's cat.
So I stole my neighbor's cat. I painted it green with yellow stripes, and it's tried to kill me. No, I bought Battle Cat. But then I thought, well, why get one? But you can get 2, because I didn't have the Masterverse one either. So I bought both. And I got them both for about 25 quid all in. So that was quite nice as well.
Bargain.
So that's all I've got. I've got no Transformers this week.
I do apologise, Rohan. Did you pick anything else up?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Not finished.
No, I was done. Yeah. Thank you. Just those 2.
All right, just in case I read that wrong. Pete, my old fellow, what have you got this week?
In an effort to try and end the longest pickups in Transformers the show history, I got 2.
Nowhere near.
Making big.
Hey.
Ultra Magnus and Ratchet, like probably the majority of the fandom. These are the only 2. He is quality. I don't know what else to say.
Pete, did you get a bit wet then, mate?
I'm just amazed. I'm just amazed. Ratchet I got today, so I haven't managed to open and have a play. Oi. But yeah, Ultra Magnus is. I'm looking forward to seeing Jamie's pictures because I think he is absolutely quality.
I am going
to
take the time with Ultra Magnus. I'm taking about a month. That figure is just amazing, and I want to enjoy it. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Alexis, if you say "make him big" one more time, I'm going to fucking kick you. Just saying that now. Right.
Every time.
Right. So now we're going to make Alexis very small.
I need to be made big tonight. I'm all right. So I think everyone saw the box of Battle Cat. If you want to see what Battle Cat looks like, go check out my my all menu review of that one there. You can't quite see me. It's just over there. I've got you might be able to see Skeletor there.
Alexis, you do know this is meant to be the pinnacle of the Transformers show. This is when you produce stuff for us.
This is why we have you on the show.
It's not point here.
I've got Vortex. Vortex like Rohan got. So he's the 4th for the 5th. So I might start putting these together now. Might try and do a little review of them all together. Actually, put them all together on live on camera. I got that. I got one other thing. one other thing this week. I got the MMC double dealer.
Wow.
So I'm actually quite impressed with this chicken mode. I think it's probably the strongest of the 3 modes actually. Here he is next
Really?
to. Yeah, I'm literally just there. There's the Fans Hobby one. Ironically, I didn't think he was going to be as big as this, but then you forget he is the Deathsaurus mold, so that was pretty big. So it's decent though. Like, the feet are massive. Like the feet are die cast. It's really easy to transform. Solid out the box. They've never made figures this small before, like the little Power Masters. So they're pretty good as well. They've got good articulation as well, which is quite impressive. Little Scar is just a bat. He's got a little bit of head wibble wobble. That's about it. But he's a good bot. Not sure I'm going to display him just yet. I'm literally just exporting the video, which I'll put on the review and comparison against Fans Hobby and other bots, which are as well in that area. So that will be live, ready to go for people to watch tomorrow. So that's me.
Oh, thank you very much, Alexis. So it's good to see people have some pickups. Well, I got some pickups as well, and one of my sort of big pickups was obviously Ultra Magnus, which is just a majestic bot. He's just like if someone had told me that was a masterpiece, I would literally have thought that was a masterpiece figure. When I first started, it is brilliant. The gimmicks of the arms coming off, I've done that. The legs are a fucking disaster. I don't know why they put the gimmick in the legs, because the time I get them off, I'm moving the mushroom peg off. Which
I think other people have had that problem in reviews as well.
Because at first I thought, oh, this is easy. I've done this. What they talk? I went, oh, it's the fucking mushroom peg. I noticed, but yeah, but apart from that, it's brilliant, and I like the modular base because of his QC issues. It's easiest to sort of fix and stuff.
Do you think Magnus is the one character that's weird that it didn't have a base mode, being like a truck and trailer, like all the other ones?
Well, this is why I would say it's like masterpiece, because he's got a flat backpack, he's smooth, everything goes on to make Ultra Magnus just like the original character was meant to be. He's a big bot. In the cartoons, in the comics, I think they started to lose track about how big he was, and he started to get smaller and smaller, kind of like what happened with the Dinobots. The Dinobots got downsized to almost like the same size of like Skids and Sunstreakers sometimes, with artists and the way they would draw them. So I think the scale with Ultra Magnus always got lost, but the clue is in his freaking name, Ultra Magnus, and he was a big bot, and the way Transformers the movie was drawn, he was a big lad there as well. So I really think the scale kind of works actually, and it's kind of funny because I think a lot of people get the third-party add-ons to make the smaller Ultra Magnus the size of what the Commander Ultra Magnus is just now. And Commander Ultra Magnus is brilliant, and I love how wide he is. I love that because it gives a lot of dynamic poses you could put him into, and really sort of show this idea that he was the ultimate soldier. This was a guy who was basically worth 3 triple changers and like Springer broadside the Sandstorm. This was the guy who was holding the line against the Decepticons and winning back. And the Decepticons, they didn't fear Ultra Magnus, they respected him because they knew they were going against a sort of a war machine, a stout soldier, a leader, all the good qualities you'd want, and his biggest critic was Ultra Magnus himself, because he just didn't know how good he actually was and how much other people respected him. And he was always doing the right thing. But I think Optimus Prime would sacrifice. The Ultra Magnus would sacrifice himself.
Have we gone into foreplay?
A little bit.
Well, I'm just talking about Ultra Magnus, and I think, but obviously Ultra Magnus isn't going to be, what I'm not even going to go into foreplay this time. Here we've got Optimus Prime and Bumblebee battle set. This is a core class thing, and it's £34, which I think is £5 too much. I think it should be a bit cheaper. I think the Bumblebee is an improvement of the original Bumblebee, which was released with Spike. The face is better, the eye strike a bit more. It's just a bit of a hideous design, and I think the way I think the sort of backpack is there. Optimus Prime is cool though, and I love having a roller, and that roller can always work with the chug figures, So I think it's brilliant in that sense. So if you were missed out buying the Centurion thing, because Rohan's been army building them. So, you've got this option of getting this sort of over. But yes, and it's fun. It's a core class thing. This is more aimed at kids, and I'm a big kid, so it suits me, and I like this. And I wouldn't dish this because I bought it. Stuff I'm half and half. I tend not to buy this. I went for, and I like it. And you got, as you got Roller, you got nice improved colors for Optimus Prime, more in line with the cartoon. You got his little battle axe, which works quite well. Bumblebee comes armed with 2 guns. It'd just be better if he actually had a training course on how to actually hit something. But yes, and the trailer is brilliant. That to me is fun. But they're both good figures. They were both nice, and yeah. And there they are, Roller, sort of Bumblebee, Optimus Prime together. And this scale kind of works, it's meant to be fun. And I think kids would enjoy this. So if your kid wants to play with your Optimus Prime, get them the set instead. Tell them how much better it is. There is the ones on the left, that was the original Optimus Prime and Bumblebee, and the ones on the right are the new ones, the sort of much brighter, versions. I do prefer the original Bumblebee windscreen colors, and I just think it was just better polished. And it's funny when you look at the QC issues, I just think the originals were just slightly better. And there's all 4 of them there together, and there's the original packaging. But yes, would I recommend this set? No. Would I recommend it if it was on sale? Yes. I just think it's a bit. I think it's a bit much. If you're getting free delivery, free postage with the 35 quid, yeah, then fine. But I think when you've got postage and that, suddenly it's a 40 quid figure, and you're thinking, well, Leader Class Optimus Prime and the trailer was 40 quid. Then I'm like, no, not really. But if you're picking this up for 25 quid in a sale, which Hasbro Pulse will do, they'll have sales on, and there's a good chance you'll be able to pick up like that or less. Then yeah, get it for your kids, or yourself. There's my Ultra Magnus picture. I'm just taking my time with this guy because I just think he's brilliant. I do, and I wasn't sure at first, but yeah, I just think, oh, this is awesome. This. I don't think we say this enough, but if you could transfer a definition of sex into a toy, this would be it. This is it. Look at this figure. He's fucking you right now.
What part of sex?
He's just a good figure. He's just good.
It's interesting that the song that the Starlight you played was quite apt, considering what you just said. Anyway, never mind.
And, good to know you're watching. It's just good. Yes.
Better than Jetfire, or on par?
Better than Jetfire.
Haven't most of the Commander classes been bangers? Not all, but most of them. And they all been figure of the year. Skylynx and Jetfire were both brilliant.
Was there.
It's better than Rodimus.
Rodimus is maybe the one that lets it down a little bit, although
my left slip is better than Rodimus.
But I have got a quick announcement to play. This is about TFUK Con next year. Remember, tickets are still available. You'd be insane not to go. Obviously, the big headline act will be Transformers the show, which will be basically the guys here, and Paul, if he survives his birthday night out, which is always a bit touch and go because he's quite old now, Paul. He's getting there now. He's no longer 40 anymore.
Another one bites the dust.
Fucking hell.
Wow. And I'm just not saying that because Luke could kick you in my head if I didn't. Wow. You know, I'm looking forward to this.
That's a big name. That is
Amazing.
a big name.
Yeah, Bob Budiansky. That's incredible, really.
I mean,
The
what he
godfather
did
of
for the
Transformers.
franchises. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
The
amazing.
Bob father.
That's not too bad,
No.
actually. That's not too bad.
I don't know if I actually did the pickup intro, so I'm just.
We now return to the Transformers.
You did, but you took.
Out.
You did, but you took. You
Yeah,
sort
it
of
was
went-
just like 2.5 hours ago.
Yeah.
you started a sentence and you talked over it, and you can't. When it came on, you still
No, I
talking.
did.
Are we still doing
did.
pickups? Are you still doing yours, Jamie?
We've lost Alexis.
Oh, what a shame.
That's a
I just
shame.
remembered I actually do have one more pickup if we're still on pickups. And
I thought
it's-
you did. I could see it in your little face. There was like tears
Yeah.
coming up.
it's over there, right? It was Pete who reminded me. So thank you, old man Pete, because my memory is being very old. I ordered the £25 special Commander class Rodimus, and I got
yeah.
a wonderful free made move. What?
Made to
Made
move.
to move. Oh yeah, made to move. Barbie doll. Yay! So now I don't know what to do with this thing.
Did you just
because,
get one?
I got two because I ordered two,
Brilliant. That's
and they're
on your
identical.
money.
Now the really good thing is,
You
right?
could have a threesome now.
Don't steal my ideas. I love you, Rohan. No. What can I
The
say?
alternative
God, I hope your
version of-
wife doesn't watch this.
The alternative version of box porn.
Oh, dear.
I've got two nieces. I've actually got three nieces. I could give one to two of them,
Just-
and then
just
one
pick your
loses out.
favourites.
Yeah,
Pick your
exactly.
favourites.
But do you know what? We took a punt. It was 25 quid for a Kingdom Rodimus. It didn't work out. The company's refunded us, and we get to keep these free Barbies. So I can't really complain. The Barbie movie's out. It's really hot at the
You
moment.
can. You didn't want the Barbies.
I didn't want the Barbies.
They complained.
Yeah. I can't complain. I've got something
You've got
I
your
didn't
money
want.
back. You're allowed
I've
to.
got something for nothing. Hey, something for nothing.
Before we do move on to foreplay,
An
Joe, I do want
accessory
to-
every young 40-year-old man could want.
I'd like to ask the chat one question, and I just want to just get something quickly. I do have a genuine question actually to ask.
She does have yoga pants on, to be fair, Jamie.
So does Alexis.
So,
Oh my
So-
god.
no. The question is, if the chat, I just want to show the chat these. I want to review one of these next week. I haven't got time to review all of them. But what would the chat like to review? Just put your name, put it on. I'm going to count up. So, do you want me to review the New Age Sludge?
Are you actually going to review it on the show? That would be so.
No,
awesome.
I'll do a video. No,
It
I'll
would
do a
also
video
be
next
so
week.
long.
The roller, the Fantasy Pipes, or Andy's favorite, the Dread.
That's the one. That's the
Yeah,
winner.
that one.
Everybody in the chat, you
Chat,
know, it makes
I'm going
sense.
for New Age Sludge.
Chat, which one do you
Rohan,
want?
get
And
out.
Well,
I'll-
it's going to
I-
take a while because remember, chat's a bit too a few minutes.
I can do a video next
Fine.
Tuesday evening and I'll release it in a week. So if you want to let me know and I'll
Rohan, have you done a video?
I haven't this week, Jamie. I was planning to do one. I've got a couple of ideas, but unfortunately, I ran out of time because
Yes or no?
unfortunately, I started with.
I think he
haven't.
answered it at the start.
Do you need some
Rohan,
hearing aids?
Rohan,
or
Rohan,
turn it up a
Rohan.
little bit?
stop.
These are sex people.
What do you mean?
They're sex swappers. Lynn, this is DEFCON 1. Look. Look. Don't make the same noise as them. Don't think you want to join in.
Listen,
Now,
Pete,
we're going to be doing Autobot Commanders. Rohan, you're not Alexis. Learn how to shut up. Hey, so we're going to be doing Autobot Commanders. Right? And we're going to be picking our favorite commander now. Only one. The reason being because there's 5 of us here. We don't want to start talking about an Autobot commander. Someone else is going to start to discuss. And then after everyone's chosen their one, then you can have your honorable mentions and ones that you liked, which might be quite good because there might be one which we didn't mention. Now, who wants to go first?
Me,
Okay, Pete, go.
just to make sure no one else No one else took it. For me, it is not only the greatest Autobot commander, but he is the greatest character in Transformers. It is
Wheelie.
Grimlock.
Oh.
Yes, Wheelie. Wheelie is. No, for me, it's Grimlock, and I've got the New Age Grimlock in comic colors because it was in the comic where Grimlock took over as commander of the Autobots. I think Grimlock was the commander the Autobots needed, right? He wasn't the goody two shoes. He was good, and he was willing to make the tough decisions, and he could be as ruthless as he could be heroic. He wasn't a pussy like Prime and Ultra Magnus and the rest of them. All right, he was the man that was able to make the tough decisions, and even turn against his fellow Autobots when they questioned him.
Beat them up, kill them. Yeah,
yeah.
The leader they needed.
Yeah. So for me, Grimlock. I think Simon Furman did a great job, showing perhaps the complexity of the character. He started off at, quite arrogant at the beginning, and he moved on to quite a complicated individual, certainly towards, end of days, where he was just so focused on the guilt that he had with the Dinobots being inactive and going on a Nucleon, search. And then, Prime elected Grimlock as his replacement. There's that iconic comic panel, isn't there, where him and Prowl are having a bit of a row after the Unicron battle.
Openly, right? If I've ever.
Yeah. And Grimlock said, "Prime didn't choose you; he chose me." And why? Because Prime saw something in him. So for me, Grimlock is the greatest Autobot commander. Let's move on to the discussion.
But he was so great that his continuity was part of when he was a commander they decided to get rid of and decided it didn't really fit in with the Transformers lore. But apart from that, I can see the positive aspects of Grimlock.
Grimlock did not railroad G1.
I didn't. No. Who wants to go next?
Not me. I'm preparing something. I will.
You always prepare. Alexis, just don't bother lying. Just be honest.
Optimus Prime.
You haven't got a clue. Okay, who's next? Andy, you go.
Sorry, I'm laughing too much at that. All right, I'm gonna go out left field because I knew everybody would go for all the boring standard ones. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna go with somebody who he's not necessarily my favorite. I think anybody who says it's not Optimus Prime is probably lying to themselves, including you, Pete. So I'm gonna go with one that I found a really interesting and entertaining leader from the recent Transformers lore. I'm gonna go with Sentinel Prime. I just loved the way they turned him into this authoritarian, evil bastard. And he was supposed to be an Autobot, which is part of the reason why Autobots to some Cybertronians became kind of like the enemy because they were so authoritarian. And he was the bot that was behind it all. And it made it really entertaining. And I also liked his character in the Titans Return stories that we got in IDW. And obviously it was the little... Was it Infinitus or whatever he was called? The head on top. But he wasn't Infinitus, and actually he was still just Sentinel Prime, wasn't he? Anyway, the point is, it was entertaining. And I get bored of goody two-shoes Autobot leaders all the time. It's part of the reason why I prefer the Decepticons. I want somebody with a bit more depth and something a bit more interesting. And he was more interesting. If I had to choose an Autobot one, it's got to be Optimus Prime. How can you not choose Optimus Prime? But for it being an interesting Autobot leader, borderline Decepticon in terms of being a bad guy, really, I'm going to go with Sentinel Prime or Sentinel Zeta Prime, depending on which version of the name you use, or Zeta Sentinel Prime, because they keep changing it around. But Sentinel Prime. Also, I love this figure. It's friggin' awesome. The clear plastic will one day break on me, but I still love it. Sentinel Prime. Thank you.
Two good ones, good from Pete and from Andy. Rohan.
Oh, well, I better bring us all back down to earth then.
If this is leader one, you're gone. Kick him.
No. And Jamie was very clear with his mandate, and I'm going to stick to his mandate. I picked one character, and I've gone like Andy. It's a little bit left field. I don't have the toy anymore because, unfortunately, I sold him when I culled this line. But from the RID Car Robots line in 2000, 2001, this is a bit of a cheat because technically it's two characters, but who remembers Omega Prime, who is obviously a little bit in the talk at the moment because Legacy United kind of indicating that he might be part of the was it the command? No, sorry, it might be the next HasLab they were talking about. Some Omega connection could be, who knows. But yes, Omega Prime was the combination of RID car robots, Optimus Prime, the Fire Engine, and Ultra Magnus, who, to Andy's point, was not a friendly Autobot. He came along and started kicking the ass of all the RID brothers at first, and then had a real problem with Prime, and basically said, "You were my brother, and I hate you now." And they had a big tiff about it. But eventually, they started fighting, and they would combine together to create this huge, powerful Omega Prime. And that is my choice for the Commander. I think he was a powerful bot. It was the combination of two brothers who hated each other, and then eventually became, aligned again towards the end of the show, because it's a kid show. Let's be honest, they have to make friends because they're good guys, right? But that's my choice, is Omega Prime.
Arrowfire's accused you of cheating. He says it's 2 bots, not 1. Scandalous. Scandalous.
Jamie is the adjudicator. Jamie is the adjudicator.
We'll have to discuss this at a later
He wasn't even listening.
That's why we have to discuss it at a later date.
When I watch the show back.
In my opinion,
he's brothers that combined to make Omega Prime. I just have never watched the cartoon. I have no idea what he's talking about, so it was all new to me.
There you go.
Because being a man, I'm not going to watch kiddie cartoons. Fuck that.
I like RIP.
Thank God the original G1 cartoon was always aimed at adults.
And even as a 4-year-old, I was a man.
You came out with the beard.
Alexis, are you ready yet?
I am pretty. I just need to get this file on my computer, and I'm ready. So,
all right, okay, I'll go then. My choice is the ultimate one now. Many people might say it's a bit Shakespearean because Hot Rod did maneuver to have Prime killed by Megatron. Now, it was a cliche, you could say, cheap, easy writing, but the point is, young Starlet makes a rash decision which gets his mentor killed. But the point is, Hot Rod was like 4 million years old, wasn't he? It wasn't like just nearly fucking forced. He knew better than that. There's another conspiracy theory that obviously Cup, could have stepped in, but basically edged Hot Rod on to do the stupid act. But anyway, he's always had that sort of kind of guilt over him, and that has got to be Rodimus Prime. Even when he saved the universe, and he did what no other Autobot did because of that same sort of presumptuous, impetuous, heroic, foolhardy, Autobot that he was. He got that matrix of leadership, and he defeated both Galvatron, and he also went on to defeat Unicron. And the toy is just majestic. It was like the Rodimus Prime we wanted. Articulation on it was badass. Transformation is badass. Bit of clear plastic, but I mean the engineers love the clear plastic, so that's there to stay. Makes it a bit fragile, but again, just badass. The colors, he looks like this is a bot who's been fighting in the Cybertronian wars. He looks like this is the leader who took the Autobots, rallied them against the Decepticons and moved forward. And he obviously had the support of Springer, and he had the support of Ultra Magnus in the cartoon. But deep down, he was always Hot Rod. And at any opportunity, he was always giving his matrix away. But he wasn't giving his matrix away to Scourge. He was giving his matrix away to this, what do you call it, the Sharkticons or the Quintessons, and any opportunity to get back to being Hot Rod. And that seems to be a sort of a thing which seems to be, no matter what version of Transformers you watch, when they have a Rodimus Prime, it's Rodimus Prime trying to get rid of the responsibility, because it just weighs on them too much. But, it's because he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to be the leader. He just wanted to beat the bad guys. He wanted to save everyone. So that's what, to me, makes him the ultimate sort of commander, because this was someone who was chosen by some divine act, to become the leader of the Autobots, not chosen because he wanted to, or he'd been building up the experience to to become that leader. He was first upon it, and he took it on board where a lot of other people would have crumbled. So not only that, love the character, my favourite toy. It's just Rodimus Prime. Absolutely awesome. But Rohan obviously prefers Barbie dolls.
They bring me pleasure.
So just at that point, right? Destiny is thrust upon you, as you said, right? And Rodimus didn't choose; he just did the right thing, right? I mean, he is basically Frodo Baggins. Let's face it, right? Carrying that ring to Mordor, and ruined him at the end, wasn't it? Because he wanted to get back to being normal. Most heroes. Say again, mate.
He had his ring destroyed.
What? Which one? Rodimus.
Is that the right movie? Or are you talking about another movie?
You downloaded the wrong movie.
Downloaded the wrong movie. Yeah.
That's the next Transformers movie.
Most.
The hot rod destroyed the ring.
Most heroes will make the right decisions and they'll sacrifice themselves, right? And it's making the tough decisions, right, which makes a leader, right? Not the popular decision, right, but the decision that's going to save or get you to continue, right? And the leader I picked not only made, I would say, probably some of the hardest decisions that there were to make, right, and carried on pretty much by himself, right, because everyone was fucking panicking around them, but also pretty much was the one guy that engineered and helped build Metroplex. Does anyone know who this is?
Ultra Magnus.
It's Ultra Magnus. Do you want to play my clip?
Why is it upside down?
It's upside down. It's
upside down. Turn your phone round.
This is from
guys. Alexis has actually done something more, so let's just go with it.
You know what? Yeah, there's no
Alexis,
sound.
Did you record this on your phone from the VHS upside down? Because it's from the secret.
VHS.
This is from the secret files of Teletran 2.
1 or 2.
Teletran 2. And
so he's gone from Wiki. He's gone from the Wiki to Teletran
2. Upside down. Brilliant. Look, he gets
this could happen to anyone. It's an IT thing,
It could. Yeah, anyone who works in IT.
Somebody is inexperienced with computers as Alexis. We've got to cut him some slack. He's still upside down.
I like the fact he at least tried. So well done. Well done.
Well done. I was going to pick Grimlock, but I had to do something different. So Grimlock's going to be my favorite. But I do think Magnus did that. In the movie, he has to make all the tough decisions, right? No, everyone else was going, "What's going on?" And he's like, "Cop and Hot Rod just bought it. I can't deal with that right now. I've got to think about the greater good all the way through, right? I've got to think about the greater good. I've got to And he never seemed to waver, even though he just stood there and took it from the sweeps at the end, right?
He had faith that Hot Rod and Cop could keep himself.
Didn't hesitate, right?
No, to your point, in season 3, The Burden Hardest to Bear, where they're talking about Giddy the whole episode and how it weighs on Rodimus, as you were talking about, as Jamie was talking about. And Rodimus is always trying to give the Matrix away, and that's where it gets stolen by Scourge after 2 of the Stundercons. I think it was Dead End and Wild Rider come and take out Rodimus. And, yeah, exactly. And then the Matrix gets to Galvatron eventually. But like you said, throughout season 3 and 4, Magnus is the stalwart character who just is unwavering and just, always dependable soldier who can get the job done.
Was it ever a theory why Ultra Magnus didn't change when you had the Matrix inside him?
Good question.
Because he wasn't chosen for it?
Yeah.
Maybe? Because Rodimus, there you get that, we knew, that was just for the cartoon. You can't, unfortunately.
You can't say that, though. I mean, the whole
season 3 of the cartoon was not consistent with its writing, so it's
no, but you can't talk about writing in that.
I point out as well.
No, because I'm still talking, Alexis.
I will answer the question.
You can't cheap out canon. We can't, because I'm still talking and making a point.
Okay.
We can't go out and just say poor writing is the reason we could ignore something like that, because normally they try to fight and change the writing and eventually they give up the ghost and say, look, this is just not part of canon. Like they have Defense Force. But I always wondered if it's because Ultra Magnus was already butch enough. He was pretty much as big as you could imagine. And I think jacking him up any more could actually be dangerous. And I just wonder if that was the case.
That was going to be my answer.
I would contest
It's the same reason. Sorry, Pete. Let me just jump in here. It's the same reason Optimus Prime didn't power up when he had the Matrix, because what gave Optimus Prime that particular form was Alpha Trion. He turned in from our own packs Optimus Prime with Alpha Trion, rebuilt him. Magnus was rebuilt as well in a similar way from Dion and someone else, right? I can't remember anyway. However, Rodimus Prime, the difference between that is Rodimus Prime actually unleashed the power of the Matrix, and when he actually unleashed the power of the Matrix, because he was in the vicinity, he absorbed some of that power, and he retained that mode and that power because he was close to it. When he was separated from that power, almost like he drew power from it naturally after that point, he was like, from that point on, he was like entwined with it, and that's what gave him his power. When he gave it back, he was away from that particular power, so his body entwined as well. That's what my theory.
Great point, well made. Sober but Alexis has game.
Scourge didn't unleash it.
Scourge didn't unleash it. He tried
it's
to.
The inconsistency.
But the Decepticons weren't able.
Tried to.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah.
You know,
which would highlight the inconsistency.
Yeah, because Optimus Prime unleashed, didn't he? He emptied it completely.
He
emptied his whole load.
What about in the comics? Did they have anything like
that?
Well,
they talked about the Matrix giving you more strength, so it could be like it's like an evolution thing. It evolves you up to the sort of pinnacle of what you could be. And Optimus Prime was already at his pinnacle because of Alpha Trion, etc. Galvatron was also at his pinnacle. You know, it's same with is it Darkwing? Is it Dark? Was he had
Thunderwing?
Thunderwing. He was at his pinnacle already, so it was always a theory of like an evolution thing. I thought it'd be interesting to think, you know, what writers could come up with, you know, to explain that, because obviously Hot Rod, every time Rodimus gave his Matrix away, it would be almost like an instant change. You'd go back to Hot Rod, and you think of an evolution that would be lasting, you know. So there was something about sort of, I'm not really sure of why it affected some individuals, or it could be just like a quirk. You know how the Transformers have certain abilities. You've got some Transformers that have ability to attune, like Alexis was saying, to the power of the Matrix, and the Matrix would have an effect on them.
Quite possible.
Yeah, so I think the key difference is he was exposed, because obviously as Unicron, when he was exposed to it, it blew him up. But Rodimus, because he was an Autobot and he was one with the wisdom of the Matrix, it empowered him at that point when it was exposed. Like when Prime exposed it at that time, the hate plague was there, so it eradicated that part of it. It didn't, and obviously Prime was heat shielded at the time, wasn't it? So it didn't really protect. It didn't do anything again to anyone else, right? I guess if there was that one lonely soul fishing.
I do know that they tried to split the power of the Matrix, didn't they? They tried to say the power part was removed and it was only the wisdom part was retained in some aspects. But that was the Netflix series, and that was mostly pish. So I don't really think we should worry about that too much.
You can't blame the writing, though.
Different universe that was.
Well, we can't, because you know that it's just you know poor. You need to think about it. You need to think about the canon. We need to think about what we could do to improve and stuff like that. It's too easy. We can say the writing's bad, and they obviously didn't have a freaking clue what they were doing. You know, like showing a clip upside down. But bravo, I like that. That was moving there. All right, so we've done all that. We had a heartfelt discussion. So now it's honourable mentions. Andy, any honourable mentions for Commander Class? Autobot Commanders, I should say.
I think I already did mine, Optimus Prime, really. Maybe Grimlock. I did like Grimlock, but I mean, he was a bit of an arsehole when he was Commander.
Not really.
Whoa.
He was.
Come on.
And didn't he lose the fight to Blaster?
Yes, he did, actually.
So much for your strong leader.
No.
And Wheelie.
I destroyed your argument.
He slipped.
Really hurt his nose.
You met Steven Gerrard a few years early.
Yeah. Hey! Slippy.
So, Rohan, any honourable mentions?
Well, do you know what, Jamie? I actually got a letter in the post today, and it's known from Transformers the show, and on the back of it I've got Autobot Commanders, and my honourable mentions are Generation 1 Optimus Prime, obvious reasons, Generation 1 Ultra Magnus for the same reasons as you guys have discussed. We talked about Omega Prime because obviously that's the correct answer, but from the animated line, to Andy's point, the same use of the name, but a different character, animated Sentinel Prime, the Jackass Prime. I thought he was a great leader. I think when he was commanding troops and being a dick, everybody loved him, and I thought that character was funny. So I put that in there as an honourable mention for being funny, not because he was an actually good leader or commander.
Because he was a narcissist.
He was an arse. He was an arse. Yeah, and I just enjoyed it. I think it's cool. I don't think they should do more of that. In Transformers Prime, we had Ultra Magnus again, voiced by was it not Jeremy Irons? Michael Ironside, is it?
Yeah.
From Starship Troopers. I thought he did a fantastic job of voicing that character. And again, when he was leading the sort of subgroup, the Wreckers, he was awesome, that character. I've also got Rescue Bots Heatwave, because again, he's not your typical kind of leader.
Are you just going through the entire fucking...
No. If I did that, there would be a few thousand. I've only got one more. And it comes from Titan's Return. And this is a bit of a really left field one. I'm going to get pelted a little bit by the chat for this. But Megatron. I thought Megatron was a fantastic Autobot leader in Titan's Return. Thank you very much. I shall leave.
He committed genocide. What is it with you and authoritarian with monsters?
They do free postage.
You give him free speech and he abuses it.
Alexis, any honourable mentions?
So anyone that I can think of that no one's mentioned, I thought potentially might get some talkish and might not discussion. We're not going to discuss it. Was Emerald Zaron really? But I guess the question I've got really, which opens the group, and only in just very quickly, 30 seconds to think about it, in like one answer each is there anyone that you think deserves to be leader that hasn't been leader?
Springer,
Prowl,
and Blaster.
Prowl, Springer, Andy.
No.
Iron.
That's an
answer. That's an answer.
Nobody stands out. Prowl, maybe, I suppose, but then it depends on the continuity, because they make him an arsehole in a lot of them nowadays.
They do.
Which a lot of Prowl fans don't like.
Yeah.
I don't know who else there really is. Bumblebee's been leader in some of them.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Mirage take the leadership for a change.
Why? Oh, he does is going invisible.
Yeah.
I think that might not be a popular choice from Jamie.
Let me clarify. Not Rise of the Beast Mirage, Generation 1 Mirage. That was
why? I ask again.
Did Blaster lead the Autobots for a little while after Grimlock, or did he turn it down? I can't remember.
He was a kind of leader we wanted, but he just never seemed to get there, did he?
I don't think he really wanted it, did he? Didn't really want to be the leader.
After disintegrating a Decepticon, there's not much else you can do. Checklist.
What about Perceptor?
Why? What the fuck are you doing?
He's got the brains.
You just like Blur.
He's got the brains. He's got the strategy.
Blur.
Outback was a great shout.
Any other mentions?
I think two. I would say Jetfire or RC. They're my two.
Highbrow, because I'm just throwing out random names.
Potentially the one with Fort Max, maybe.
Yeah, he's not had a mention apart from in the chat.
No, I would.
He's on my.
Do you think that's because he's been really hard? Because basically the characters of Fort Max have always been human.
Yeah.
No. In Headmasters, he wasn't human. He was Maximus. He was Fortress.
In the Japanese continuity, but
Correct.
none of us really watched the Japanese cartoon because the dub was shit. So thinking about the G1 cartoon and thinking about the G1 comics and the Fortress Maximus character, which all these mature, wonderful people at our age appreciate, he was basically always played by a human character.
He was Spike,
not
wasn't
counting IDW. Yeah, it was either Spike or it'd be some variation.
Well, he started off as Fort Max, and he was a character. Then he got bonded to, what was the name of the guy from Nebulos that he first got bonded to before it was Spike? Because it was when that guy died that Spike.
Was it
Yeah.
Was it Galen?
No,
Galen.
Galen. Yeah, you were very close though. Galen. Yeah. And that's when it started to become kind of crossover. It was more Galen than it was Fort Maximus. And then when Spike was bonded to him, didn't Fortress Maximus almost like call to him because Spike didn't want to be the head anymore. Like yeah, and he had to go back in the end because he realized it was like his destiny thing, and he's got.
He was the last Autobot on Earth at some point.
But anyway, yeah, Fortress Maximus he was Fortress Maximus before all that Headmaster stuff happened. But then, like you say, that was probably for about 2 issues of the comic, maybe into the third one of that 4-parter they did to introduce them all, and then after that, it's Galen and then Spike. Still, that doesn't mean he's not a good leader.
Yeah, but an interesting choice, Pete.
There's one character.
Now you took a machine gun to it.
like everybody,
told me
like every one of my choices.
Yeah,
There's one character that the chat is banging on about, which we haven't mentioned, which is Commander Modesty.
Oh, it's Skylink.
Skylink.
Why are you picking the worst?
The chat is going mad for him.
Animated Sentinel Prime.
How do we kick
Turn
the
the
chat?
chat off. You don't deserve an
Eternal
opinion, chat.
honourable mention. He's good, but who the hell would pick Skylinks? No one.
When you
I
say
can see
Charlie,
Charlie,
two people.
Yeti.
Bisto Yeti and Charlie. Yeah, Bisto Yeti and Charlie.
Okay, well, they said it 4 times, but it's the 2 of them.
I expect it from Bisto, though.
I have Skylinks on my list.
Brilliant.
Oh.
Okay, so now we're going to be moving on to our wonderful discussion. And our discussion tonight, and maybe, hopefully you've got a sense of this, obviously I've been a bit authoritarian myself. It's Rohan, he brings this out in me.
Central prime of our group.
Why do we like Transformers? What is it we liked about Transformers
You tell
in the
us.
first place?
Welcome to Jamie's TED Talk.
Why do we stay
Jamie,
in
make
this
something.
fandom? What do we like
Oh, you
about
mean
this
with
fandom?
Transformers?
What do we collect? What is it about this fandom? So while you think about this, I'm hopefully going to be playing in a damn bloody intro. I can't find it.
I believe in you.
We now return to the Transformers.
Pete's going to start us off in this wonderful discussion.
We're ready.
Why do I love Transformers? The lists are endless and probably unauthorized. So I'll just pick, for me, obviously it was a main toy line when I was growing up and playing with toys. And I think it was you had 2 toys in one. If you liked robots, Transformers, gave you the robot. If you like cars, Matchbox cars were still, a massive thing and so popular in the 80s. Transformers gave you vehicles, which were certainly in the first and second wave were cars. Realistic ones, because that's what I wanted when I was 4. I don't know. They're just cool, aren't they? I think it was the colours and the engineering and the backstories. I don't know. There's so many. I couldn't possibly pick one reason as to why I love Transformers.
You didn't have to pick one.
I just do. All right? I just do.
You could do 2. You could do 3 if you want.
All right.
I got 10. Is that all right?
Oh yeah,
they all come on under the letter. That's
it's
incredible.
A discussion. We can all jump in and out and stuff like that. I mean, you're thinking more stuff. You come in to say it, Alexis. You got any ideas?
Proper hokey cokey, this one, isn't it? Yeah, I like like people said, the engineering. I love modern Transformers today. What I love about all these things, right, is the engineering, right, the ability to pick something up, and people have desk spots and stuff. It's like it's nice to have a fiddle. It saves me I save money on lube, which is fucking amazing because but like when you're a kid and you've got something like this, right? And it just sort of it's imagination in your hand, right? The ability to, because again,
it's imagination.
It's not just 2 modes, right? It's 6 or 7, right? It's whatever your imagination wants, right?
I mean, you get bored of the videos, you can watch it upside down.
And my middle child Ethan, right? He could play with 2 rocks and make a story out of it. He loves he loves action figures, he loves characters, right? And Miles, my oldest one, he loves the puzzle, and he transformed Grimlock, Studio Series Grimlock. Is it Studio Series Grimlock? Is it the Studio Series? When he was like 6, I think it was. He was like, it knocks it out the park. And I was like, I'm pretty impressed here. So yeah, he had the toys for that, and then Ethan loves the cars and the robots really. So for me, it's about it gets my brain going, and my brain's a really scary place, as most people know, right? So But it's not. I find that I look
especially when it shows up.
There we go.
Hey, he's not been too bad tonight considering he's.
So
he's been well.
The upside down video from the side, it's all fine.
Do you know the worst thing about tonight is I've come off right as an arsehole. It's so annoying.
Don't worry, Jamie. It's every week.
I am an arsehole.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, go
We
on.
have ways of making you enjoy the Transformers.
That was close. That was close. Well, that was off table then. When I pick up like when I pick up a Joy Toy, pulls the fuck hate me. When I pick up a Joy Toy, I don't get the same nostalgia hit as I do when I pick up one of these. This I'll pick up and I'll look at and I'll think, I'll admire that as a piece, right? I'll put it down. The Transformer, I'll just fiddle with. I'll just fiddle with for ages.
I'll just
the legs won't fall off.
I don't care.
No.
I think you did that with your Transformer, you'd be like, fuck, oh no. Stay with me, don't go.
Stay away from the light.
Quick
because it'll yellow with plastic.
A quick bot to mouth session again, is it? Double dealer.
No, but
I mean,
listen, if you're that desperate, I can lend you a Barbie.
Anytime I drop a Transformer,
I don't want it back, Rohan.
Mainline knows how distraught I am. She often offers to buy me a new one straight away. You know, oh, we'll get a replacement. Don't worry. You know, because she can see my little face and the tears. Don't you worry, Jamie. We'll get a new one. And you can't get a new one. They don't make them anymore.
And that's why you're like you are. You're spoiled. All right, Mainline spoiled you. All right, Mainline, you've ruined it.
Or do I have a partner who loves me because I know a name? I don't know.
Burn.
We can pinpoint the exact time that the show turns into an all-out battle. Well, hang on, I want to know where Alexis is going with whatever the hell he's doing right now.
He's just being Alexis,
one of his weird sex toys. And what's he doing?
Right, Rohan, what do you like about Transformers?
Oh, dear.
Well, I think the guys have articulated it really well. For me, it was
a sex toy.
It was all about the combination of a robot and a vehicle. Oh, broken down there. A robot and a vehicle, and the transformation between the two, obviously. But combine all of that with this epic war that's going on, the evil versus good, the complexity and puzzle of playing with the transformations and the deep storylines, you know, between all the characters and all the range of characters that they had. You know, I know there's a lot of talk these days about diversity and all that kind of good stuff, but I felt that Generation 1 had loads of diverse backgrounds of characters, especially from the voice acting, which was brilliant. And yeah, the amount I learned from that show, I mean, you know, I was born in 1984, so I missed all of the show until like the 87, 88, like when I was 3 or 4. But I learned so much about science fiction, about energy, about everything, right? And absolutely blew me away. So yeah, those are the reasons for me. All of those characteristics together are why Transformers are just absolutely unique in the market and better than GoBots. And I said it here first and foremost, absolutely. I enjoyed GoBots. I've always enjoyed GoBots, but Transformers trounces GoBots every day of the week. Can I stay on the show?
I like the fact you said it's the science. It's not just science fiction; it's science as well.
Yeah,
I like if it's got the science behind it, just a little bit, like how they win something. I mean,
yeah,
I like that. I like that about the Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man. My boy's now watching Iron Man, and it's chalk and cheese. Like there's no fucking science in Iron Man. It's fuck. I can see why it
made up.
Flops.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so bullshit. But Spider-Man works. He's like he uses science all the time to use his brain, right? And again, the Transformers use science. Again, I know it was science fiction, but again, that's there was science behind that, and I think that was quite key as well. And as I said, the story, the little bits you got. It's not about you guys. I never got the whole story. You could used to get dip in and dip out of a cartoon episode, or you read the comic, and then you get parts. You go, oh, well, I know what happens, right? Cliffhangers, right? It always ended on it drew you in.
The thing about Transformers was it was something you can relate to. It didn't seem like science fiction. The things about science fiction sometimes to me was it's so out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was hard to connect with. But with Transformers, you know, kudos to the writing teams. They made it very relatable without overdosing you with human characters. And they had a plethora of human characters. And they would be strong female characters, and it'd be from people from different sides, different countries, different locations, and it was brilliant. And they moved forward, and that was the cartoon. It was also in the comics, and some of the stories even started setting in Britain as well, and that was because obviously the writers were writing about something they know about. And I think maybe that's why the writing often back in the 80s was better. The 80s had better diversity because the people went around. They went to different countries. Some of them had fought in wars. They'd been around. And that explains where they were coming from and the backgrounds that they had. But the trouble with a lot of your modern writers, going on holiday to sit on a beach for 2 weeks isn't visiting a country. Going to the tourist traps isn't visiting a country. Going to the pub and having a conversation with the barman isn't. Is a depth of knowledge and experience that they just don't have, and it explains maybe why in a lot of the characters it's more like someone cosplaying a certain niche or a certain character. But I do think with Transformers, what brought me in there was it was freaking hard to read. There's lots of big words getting used. There's lots of dialogue, but those characters looked awesome. Optimus Prime looked like a John Wayne in robot form or a John Wick-esque type character, big and broad, standing the ground, doing the right thing. There was Autobots dying. Megatron was like the ultimate bad guy, just pure and evil. It wasn't like, oh, you've got to understand the deeper meaning. I think IDW kind of lost it when they tried to make it like the working class thing, because when you look at Britain, it's quite unique in the sense that we didn't have the body revolutions. We didn't have, blowing up to get the working class rights. They just went out there and freaking marched for it. Megatron is more like a fantasy of what happens if the bad guys it worked and then he eventually turned good, which has never happened in human history. So I think they went a bit off there. But I think with the G1 comics, they made it simple. Evil's evil. And I like the story of like when, Rodimus Prime would talk about, the most evil characters. And the only one that I kind of think had a redemption arc was probably Scorponok. And I think we should maybe talk about Decepticon leaders at some point. But I loved it. I loved the stories. I loved the way it was introducing you to concepts I just wasn't aware of. But I loved the language. For me, growing up in Glasgow, I think it improved my reading age way above what the literature I was reading at primary school. And I think, I noticed that when I went on to other comics, they didn't seem to have the same sort of adult writing or reading, and I think Transformers was brilliant in that sense. And I appreciate that, so that's one aspect for me was just the storytelling and the way it was in depth and the way it didn't seem to talk down to you. Because as a kid, you get enough people talking down to you as a kid. You don't need a freaking comic to do it for you.
And I think
I just like pretty pictures, really. So I agree with you. I like the pictures. I want to take my boys to a comic book shop now. You maybe want to take them to a comic book shop and pick their own comics. I really want to do that. Sorry, Pete.
I think looking in the chat, there are so many really kind of smile-provoking opinions that they've got. It's like Dave saying that he got back into it with his, watching the cartoon with his boy, and that it reignited, Charlie, Ed. There's so many good. I think everyone's got a nostalgic emotion towards it, haven't they? Even if you came into it a bit later. I mean, not if you started at Beast Wars.
Sorry, Ian.
Yeah. If you started up before or after that, you've probably got a trigger point where it just makes you smile when you think about it.
So that's. Go on, sorry.
No. I'd finished, mate. I'd finished. Go on, carry on.
I was gonna say it's like starting Star Wars with like the, episode 1, and that's your Star Wars, right? And you go, I love that. And go, oh, wait till you get the older ones. Roll back, right? Ian's done well, right? He started the Beast Wars, still fucking here.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
So Andy, what do you think?
Yeah, Andy.
Most people have already made the points that I would have made. Ray made the point very early on about the comics. The comics were like what you just said there, Jamie, about they raised your reading age and they actually challenged you with your reading. I mean, you had comic books for kids that were quoting and basing stories off things from Shakespeare, and it just it pushed you. And I remember developing a love of reading because I read the comic books, and then that got me into reading the books, and then reading those books got me into reading more books at school. And when I met Simon Furman the first time, I had almost the exact same conversation that you just mentioned there, telling him about how what I loved in the 80s, what really dragged me into Transformers more and more wasn't necessarily the cartoon, which is a bit harder to actually get to see on TV in the day. It was the comic books first and foremost, and just the look of it, everything. Science fiction that wasn't out there in another universe. It was here on planet Earth, realistic looking cars and planes and tape decks and guns, and they turned into these incredible robots, which were, you got character development in the cartoons, and that did help definitely. But then the comic books just fleshed it out, and you got even on the back of the boxes. I mean, the box art was beautiful. The back of the boxes, the bios just gave you so much information, so you could then take those characters on and develop the stories when you played with them. And people saying in the comments again about how they went around their mates' houses. It's exactly what you did. Yep. You would go at your mates' houses. You'd have your Transformers, their Transformers. I go around my mate Mark, I've mentioned many times, who had every fucking Transformer. And, you could just have these battles and you could carry on the story yourself. But then we'd read the comics at the same time and, sometimes follow along with that. It was a magical time. And I don't know if we've had that combination of all those things together since G1 to the same impact that it had. And maybe it's because it was new and fresh to us back then, but it was just an amazing time back then. And you never lose it. You love it.
I can only speak as a teacher, but the one aspect I have annoyances with is BBC journalism is like BBC Bite Size. I think is quite good and is put together by very astute, clever people, and they try not to speak down to children. They're really trying to improve their reading age. But the trouble is, when you start looking at sources like BBC journalism, if they're writing in a way which is lower than the reading age of fucking BBC Bite Size, and they always defend it. Oh, we don't want to confuse the people. And the trouble is, when you look at a lot of the articles we talk about, science articles, because they're down it down, it's because the journalist simply doesn't fucking understand what he's reporting on. So he dumbs it down because he doesn't understand it. They're basically lying and distorting facts, and that kind of annoys me when you've got literature like BBC Bite Size and BBC produces stuff which has got higher reading age. And I think about that with comics. When you think about a school library, kids are like reading anime and manga even, and that's got hard reading ages in some of them, and they're dealing with complex subject matters as well. Where some of the UK produced comics with people who think they know stuff are dumbing it down for kids, and I think sometimes they're gearing it down for a low ability, but what they don't understand is, everyone can go to that low ability, but you want to be sort of pushing them forward, holding them by the hand. Obviously, you don't want to go full Shakespeare on them, but at the same time, you don't want to just, they're only kids, so I'm going to just dumb this down and use that as an excuse. And I just worry sometimes as a society we are dumbing down a lot of stuff, and it's because the people who are writing it down just don't actually have the ability, and they're using the excuse they're dumbing it down, and it's just
can I ask a question
have that writing ability.
Modern day comics, because I think you've potentially given me a small epiphany tonight, which is, are modern day comics in the same way? Shut up.
No, Pete. Trust me. No.
Do modern day comics push the boundaries? So if I took my child to a comic book shop and they read a modern day comic, would they get the same type of boundary pushing, like writing, that they would do from?
I think if you took from Eastern Europe, you definitely would, and I think you would get it from Asia as well. You would definitely get pushed boundary. I think a lot of the DC and Marvel stuff just now, unless it's the older stuff, like 2006 and downwards, I think the newer stuff is very badly written, and it's too much about people playing a fantasy of themselves. And I don't know, they've kind of lost the plot, I think, in a lot of
That's a shame. Because I guess my point is, like you mentioned about the sort of almost like the perfect storm of what we have with Transformers, with the TV, the toys, and the writing, right? I think the only thing which has come close to that, and again, I'll happily be challenging this, probably is Pokemon. But we did have toys back in the day They had plushes and things, but they had the cards, right? It was the cards, it was the cartoons, and they had the comics as well. And my boys read Pokemon, which is basically the cartoon just translated into a book, basically. And I find that, so again, I'm not a natural reader. I find it, I take things in visually more than literally. I find my children the same. Ethan likes to read. Miles is very visual, and Elijah I think will be very visual as well. So I showed my comic books.
I'll give you some advice as a teacher, and I'll just be honest with you now. All these things about audio kinesthetic visual learning, it's all bullshit, and always has been. There was never been any evidence for it. You're all the same. You have got that ability. What you enjoy, now that's different. Now, if you enjoy visual stuff, then you enjoy it. It's not that you're a visual learner. You're a dick if you're thinking like that. You just got to be thinking about this. Like, this is what you enjoy. And because you enjoy something, you tend to do it, and then you become an expert in that. And that's
no,
I know what you mean, though. But it's just about you're falling into a trap.
I'd rather listen to something or watch something and make my own notes. I'll read my notes back, the things that I've written down. I'll take the points from that. Reading a whole,
that's connected to the brain as well, because when you talk about people with photographic memory, that's a science fiction. No one has photographic memory, but a lot of people have fantastic auditory memory where they can almost remember every conversation in words. And that because your brain's very attuned to hear auditory information and take in sound. So there's lots of reasons why you might prefer auditory, and it's not you actually being lazy; it's your brain's very geared up for it. But being able to train your brain to do things it's not geared up for, that's when you'll start to reap the benefits a lot and work in tandem with the things you do enjoy.
Makes sense. Bister's got a good point. Ninja Turtles came very close to it. They had comics, they had toys, they had cartoons. I think Power Rangers did as well. They had, I don't know if they had the comics, they had the toys, and obviously
they did. Yeah, didn't they? They comics as well.
So
MCU. Marvel have done a fantastic job of it, haven't they? There's always been a Marvel cartoon, whether it's the X-Men or Spider-Man or whatever, and the comics have run continuously. It's a job to know, isn't it? Is the fact that we know Transformers, they brought in the toy line, and the cartoon and the comics were to sell the toy line, but stuff like Marvel, the comics has existed long before the toys. So did they bring the toys in to supplement that media? It's a job to know. But
do you think it's because Transformers was kind of like an accident in the sense that they didn't really know what they were doing? If there was a committee telling them this is how you should do a comic, they would have messed it up. Whereas because
massively.
no one told them what the rules, no one told them what the rules were, so they just went and did what they wanted.
Well, that was the thing, right? Wasn't it? So Hasbro has obviously brought the toy line over, and they go to Marvel, and I guess Bob Budiansky would tell the story, but they dropped it on Bob's desk and said, come up with bios for 10 Autobots and 10 Decepticons.
But to your point, Jamie, I think, they took some elements of what they'd done with G.I. Joe before, and going to Marvel and saying, do this and that, and use those good elements. But like you said, the rest of it, they didn't have a flipping clue what they were doing. So they were making up as they were going along, and they were learning themselves. And I think some of those things were really great and have stood the test of time. And some of those things at the time perhaps didn't come out so well, like the G1 movie, which was, panned at the time. But then in retrospect, it's become this massive cult following. So
who panned it though?
I think all the kids did, didn't they? Because they were all upset and crying.
It was a financial flop, and a lot of the critics were quite harsh that it was just a toy advert, for which it is, for an hour and a half.
It did like 100 quid in the cinema, didn't it?
It's aged better.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Sorry, lads, I've got to go. I've got to go because Kobe's coming back from his French trip, and he was supposed to be back at 11, and they've sent a message saying they're arriving back in 10 minutes. You've got 4
children, so you could miss one.
I know, but trust me, he's one. Well, I was going to say something. No, I'm not going to. I can't. I really can't. Claire will kill me. If you think it's about setting off the Alexa, you should see what happens if I piss her off about that. Enjoy the rest of the night, lads, and I will see you next time.
It's been a pleasure.
Love you.
Have a good weekend.
What was I going to say?
I'll chat with him later.
The movie. Yeah, the movie was a flop, right? I guess. Sorry, you were saying about if there was controls. I think we've seen that, right? If you look at Netflix today, And you look at anything which involves robots, that's the control they have today. If you look at the Netflix series, that's the control they have, right? That's what would be released is that back then, right? If they were in control, right? It's a different era, right? And they've got that. And I think almost the comic books are still almost a bit of a free reign, aren't they? Because again, there's a bit more poetic license there, is probably the right way of saying it, that they can push the boundaries a bit more. Yeah. And if you look at anything which pushed the boundaries on Netflix, like Tessay or Castlevania, Amazon does it with
but they're exceptionally well written.
They are. The writers. My point is that they're not aimed at children; they're aimed at adults, right? In the same way, and the same way a lot of mangas.
That's what I wonder, because when we say when you think about it, our brain development, by the time you're 25 years old, we're a new individual. There's not a single cell in our body that was there since we were a child. We are a new person, So if you were a dickhead when you're 12, that person's long dead. You're a new person, so it's okay. Relaunch yourself. And I just wonder, it's almost like, I don't know, we throw it in speech all the time, it's for children. It's like, but usually sometimes in inverted brackets, it means, it's pish. We do less quality or less effort because it's for children, children meals, small meals, And I just wonder sometimes, instead of saying adult, as I was talking about earlier, the BBC seems to think adults are thicker. A lot of writers just now in Hollywood, with the strike, seem to think, we have to dumb down stuff. That's the excuse for why a lot of their TV series are crap, because they wouldn't understand it. So we're dumbing it down. And you go, it's a fucking multicellular novel. It's obviously enough people understood it. If you don't have the ability to translate it, then you're the problem, not the original source material.
I think what changed that a little, culturally has helped change that is things like Harry Potter. I think that was quite complex writing from JK, and obviously that's quite an in-depth book, and I think a lot of kids still use that as a the movies are the movies, right? But I think the books are quite it brought kids back to that type of some of those books are huge. Like, they're great door fucking stops. I would never read one personally, but movies love them. I'm saying, but for kids, they're great. Yeah, for kids, they're great.
You lie. You've read them all.
I have not read any of them.
Have you not?
I remember going to Tesco's locally at midnight one night to get my good wife at the time, my brother. It was.
This was after Kissing Club.
Well, the sixth one that got released, right? And I was like, "Oh, why are we here?" And I was like, "That's a fucking big book." I was like,
it's just wasted.
I don't think I've watched part 2 of the Deathly Hallows.
You got to watch them all.
That's
the end of the series, Jamie. You got to watch it.
What was the other one? It was Twilight, wasn't it? Around then as well. That was a book as well, but it was just like.
Oh no, God no!
Isn't that the precursor to 50 Shades of Grey or something?
No, that's for adults. But Twilight's for. Is it the right? What's the word? Teens, tweens? I don't know what they are.
Tweens. I don't know.
But again, like if you look at the movies, and again, it was quite adult like content, but people died, and there was like bloodshed and the rest of it, and there was obviously like adult relationships and things like that. So it was like there was a lot of like boundary pushing in that for children, I think. And you compare it to like Percy Jackson, the Lightning Thief.
It's just a video game, isn't it? Yeah.
It's almost like, So I completely see your point around that, Jamie. But I don't think there's a lot out there that does push it for children, visually or literally. Not anymore. No. There is there isn't the next big thing, right? The closest they get to that, right, is watching The Big Bang Theory, right? Because that pushes, that's that subtle pushing the boundaries, right? At 6 o'clock on E4.
But I see, when you say pushing the boundaries, I always wonder, it's like, Christ, humans have been around for a good, when you think about, BC 2,000 years, when we've really pushed boundaries, we've obviously been around for far longer, 100,000 years of human evolution there. So I think we've been pushing the boundaries quite well for a while. I think sometimes the boundaries now is more like not pushing boundaries, we're kind of restricting. Or people trying to take credit for reinventing the wheel again and again because they didn't have the common sense to read what was before them. When you talked about Netflix, it's like, I look at One Piece in Netflix. I don't particularly like it too much, but I've been enjoying some of the episodes, and it's clear for me that the people who do One Piece love the source material. where I think
that was amazing. I love One Piece.
And they
love One Piece.
Yeah, they clearly love the source material and they love the characters and they're not mocking it. They're not being cheap shots and they're trying to be faithful to the story. If anything, they're putting so much in. So it's hard for new people to come in, but they're like, fuck it, we want to do this. We might only get one season, but it's been a success. Where I think a lot of other source things, and I worry about, and I don't think Transformers has actually suffered from this actually at all. But I think a lot of other franchises suffer from it. There's a lot of writers who pretend to like the source material and absolutely hate it, take it over and do their best to destroy it and write the story they want by using these characters as fucking avatars, just shells. And then the characters have got new personalities and a new, meanings and new definitions, which the original writer never planned for. So I like the fact that One Piece is a good example. I think Castlevania is a good example as well because they do change characters, but the people love the source material. So where the characters have been changed, it kind of makes sense. Or you don't notice because it's so well crafted and well written and pushing the story forward. So I like that. And I think Transformers is the same. I think Transformers, from all the stuff I've written, the plethora and the myriad of source material out there, even the Netflix stuff, I think it's done by people who genuinely like what they're doing.
Was One Piece? I didn't get into One Piece, the original cartoon back in the day. It was a bit too jokey for me.
Yeah,
but I really loved the live screen adaptation. I thought it was enough jokiness, enough clever writing, and enough bits in it, but it was very serious at the same time. Like people actually did die, and like there was a fair bit of blood and gore in it, which I was like, is this what the original was like? I was like, is it? I looked at it. I looked at the original one. IMDb, right? Over 1,000 episodes. I was like, fuck me, it's more than Naruto. So I was like, wow, that's a lot of episodes. I thought in my head, that's a lot of bullshit as well.
So Pete mentioned a nostalgia kick. What's keeping you in Transformers, Pete? Why are you collecting now in your prime of your life?
Hand on heart, I don't want to grow up. And the nostalgia stuff reminds me of being a kid. And I had a really good childhood and I really enjoyed it. And I just want to keep hold of it. And I think, we work very hard in our jobs. And I think, it's time to, I don't know, if you can afford to still keep hold of your childhood and, people like Hasbro and Mattel are still releasing it. Yeah. And, Mask is no different. I want to stay a kid for as long as possible.
Great sentiment.
That's a good answer. That's quite deep.
Beautiful.
We're not having you back.
Top
that was quite good. Yeah. Okay, Rohan.
I can't.
Okay. You can follow my bullshit. So, again, to Pete, it's fun. It's I think but it's not just that. It's the friendships as well. I think Deluxe as well. I think he was joking saying we have no friends. We have lots of friends. There's a big community, right? It's a lot of fun, right? It's fun getting into a debate about who's your favorite this or who's your worst that or whatever. And it's fun to have the banter and the bullshit, the camaraderie. But it's also then fun. Like I think there's a genuine excitement. Like, I would say like, when Paul got that roller out at TF Nation, who gives a shit about fucking roller? It's fucking roller. Everyone fucking gave a shit, right? Everyone's like, oh, yeah, this is very interesting, right? I have no affiliation to roller at all, right? But I'm genuinely interested, right? And there's that whole. And I think as well what you talk about, Jamie, as well is it's the evolution of what happens, right? What's next big thing, right? Whether that's from a comic book, or an action figure, right? And I guess that's what's good as well, right? It's about being able to actually look at that and say there is a future. This is still quite fun, because if it wasn't fun, you can always sell stuff. It does take a little bit of time to sell. It probably take me 2.5 weeks to get rid of this bullshit and this crap here, but Rohan's that's just because it takes time to get back and forth from Rohan's house. But
listen. You make a really good point, and it's something I was thinking about earlier today. I might do a Rohan's Corner on this at some point. Is Transformers now, as you guys mentioned earlier, going to have its 40th anniversary? It's reinvented itself within that 40 years many times. There have been so many different lines, so many different sort of reality, shall we say, so many different spin-offs, that it's no longer, in my opinion, a Transformers brand. Yeah, it is a brand, of course it is, but it's almost like we've got little sub-franchises now within Transformers of different areas, and you can see
I love that.
Yeah, that's beautiful, right? And you can see the fans of those various different ones coming through and integrating together, and they each bring something different and add something different to the overall.
And I think that's great because it's a strength, because it means when Transformers launches a new franchise, it doesn't need to check every box because there's a myriad of franchises out there, many franchises, but it's do, and I think that's a great thing. I mean, the one thing, which I got from like joining Transformers forum and going into social media, interacting with people, was having a rigid plan or a rigid viewpoint just restricts you. It closes you off from so many wonderful creative people, and just because someone else likes something, that's a good thing. I adds to that, and I don't like to use that word diversity, because I think sometimes it's like differentiation. It's been fussed around with no true meaning anymore, or anything scope behind it, And I think the one thing about the Transformers fandom is whatever you can say about criticizing not liking some stories or not liking the way some characters have went. Like, I don't like the way Pyro has been treated sometimes, or the way Star Saber's been treated. It's not because the people don't love the franchise, because they do. They might be pish writers, but I think they love the franchise, and I think sometimes, and that's a great thing, and it's moved things forward. And to be honest, when I said pish writers, I don't actually think I've read anything I've actually not disliked, openly, apart from Bayverse, and yeah, Bayverse is probably the only one I could think about, but I think when it comes to comics, there's some stories where I've not liked it, but I can appreciate where they're coming from. I can appreciate the story, what they're trying to tell. It's just not been for me. And I think that's unique, because I think in some Marvel and DC stories I've read, I went, oh my God, this is awful.
Yeah.
I don't know what's gone here. But the artwork's been a strong thing, where I think with Transformers there's been like some stuff where I've not liked the artwork, but the stories have been great. It's kept me in. And I think that's the important thing with Transformers. It's always been the stories rather than the artwork. Not to go against any of these artists, because I'm awful at drawing, so and I'm awful at writing. That's why I don't do stuff. And sometimes when you critique something, it's too easy to be negative, because you don't know about how overworked these fuckers are. And they are overworked, and the deadlines they've got to work to, it's just horrid. But I think, yeah.
I think I'm the opposite. So I think I'm actually I'm blessed in this way, right? Because, as I said, I didn't. No. Because you said you like the right. You grew up with the writing of the artwork. Well, I grew up appreciating the artwork. I'm now finding the writing. I'm now reading things for the first time. So I haven't read a lot of the. I've seen the storylines. Haven't read the detail. So when I go back and look at it, I get the detail, and I'm like, whoa! I get that hit, like boom.
Yeah.
So that's why I say I'm blessed in the sense that I experience that. It goes. I nostalgia. I go right back to where I was reading that comic book in the first time, right? And that's I'm doing that still when I get time. So it is really powerful, as you said. It's still powerful. I guess if it wasn't powerful, I'd be reading Barbie like Rohan does. But
hey! Who said I could read?
And doing the voices.
You're so nice, Rohan.
Listen. Yeah.
I think.
But it's funny how we've been talking about the comics and the literature, but not so much the animations.
See,
or the
I think a lot
animation.
of it. I think a lot of this applies to the animation because I haven't read a lot of the comics, as you well know. I have always been very difficult to get into the comics because I was too young when they first came out, and I haven't had a chance. I know lots of you've encouraged me, and I've tried a little bit, not hard enough, but I used to go through a cycle where I would go through every single one of the cartoon shows from Generation 1 all the way through to modern day and rewatch them every 5 years on a cycle. And to Alexis's point just there, every time I would rewatch them, I would find one little nugget, something that I hadn't seen before, something that hadn't hit me, and it would just bring it all fresh back to my face. And it would be like, wow, this is new again, like you said. And you get that hit and that excitement again.
Like a butt cake. Yeah.
I'm giving all my secrets away.
My boys have just watched the whole Marvel Spider-Man, the whole 5 seasons on Disney Plus, right? Now they've now decided to pick Iron Man. I would have picked X-Men personally, but they picked Iron Man. So once we've completed the single season of Iron Man, because there wasn't more than one, let's face it, that's a good thing. We'll move on to X-Men and we'll do the same thing there. So I'll be getting the nostalgia hits there as well. And like we put it on in the mornings, they go, "Oh, Dad, I want to watch this." And 2 minutes later, the zombies. Exactly. Kids, eat your breakfast quick. Mum's gonna come down.
It's gonna mess Dad up.
You know what she's like, Pete.
Yeah, great. Yeah,
when someone orders a pizza. Don't hit me anymore.
One thing I would love to see, and it's all over Jamie's shirt, is a little bit of crossover now with some of the other great franchises that we all love. You know, a little bit of Mask, a little bit of Visionaries, a little bit of MOTU, whatever, with Transformers, done tastefully in small quantities. I don't want it to be mass, and I don't want it to be in our faces forever and whatever. But yeah, just a little bit. I think that would be really cool.
Do you know, I would love to see Exo Squad. I don't know if a lot of people had ever watched that. Exo Squad to me was brilliant, and I've watched that again. And even though the animation can be a bit ropey, I still love it. And I just, to me, if it was a toy line launched on that, I would be buying that up.
Can you imagine a little bit of a crossover between Transformers and Exo Squad? Just to, that would be awesome.
The one I like, which hasn't aged well, is Pole Position. Hasn't aged well at all.
No.
I don't know the rest.
And bring back GoBots.
It's because when you have your video, because
they'll all be dead. They'll be dead, died of old age.
If you record them on your VHS, right, and then you record over stuff, and then you used to find one of your old tapes, and you just click it on like it's 4 hours. You used to go through it. It used to be all your old cartoons that you recorded, and there were little bits. There was like 10 seconds of Pole Position, the intro. I was like, and I was in the, and it was in the 90s. Like, what's this? I have no idea what this is. Like, and it's like internet wasn't there then. I was like, oh, I don't know what this is. It's really annoying. And I used to go through and watch all my old VHSs or things which were there like back in the day. I'm pretty sure I got the track. That's why I got the movie first because it was done on Sky. And then my tracks, but I had a few Ninja Turtles as well. It was like little bits of here and there.
Do you think, controversial opinion, but the reason it seems like a lot of media sucks just now, cartoons aimed at kids, is because it's done too much by committee. It's too much aimed at privileged middle-class children, or I should say too much aimed at middle-class parents who are a bit worried about their wee bunny not understanding such concepts.
I'll give you an example of this, right?
I'll give you an example stories.
So there is now on Netflix, right? Disney Plus, Spidey and His Amazing Friends, right? So obviously you have Spider-Man, Marvel comics, and there's Spider-Man Limited, and there's lots of different variations. There's lots of different you got the 60s version, the 90s version, the noughties version, the teeny version. Like there's goes through. Right?
I thought it was an 80s version of Spidey and Amazing Friends.
Is it 80s? Oh no, yeah. Sorry, 80s, that was 90s, sorry. Yeah, that. So the 60s, 80s, 90s, noughties, and there's one 90s more. 90s
is when he became Spider-Man solo, didn't he?
Correct. So Spider-Man. It was the Amazing Spider-Man, which was the original one, and it was Spider-Man's Amazing Friends with Firestar and Iceman, which is the one I started watching it. And then you had Spider-Man, which was when they started doing the neogenic stuff, and that was the big one, the 5 seasons one I watched with the Marvel characters now. Then there was Spider-Man Limited. Then they rebooted it twice more, but now it's Spidey's Amazing Friends because they've done the Spider-Verse. It's Gwen as well, and it's Miles Morales, which is Ghost. So it's Ghost Spider and spin, they call them as well. And then
I think Miles Morales is a character. It needs to be written well. Like the game, Spider-Man game. I think the character was written well.
Come into that in a second. But my whole point is that the bad guys will try and steal the ice cream cart. They will nick the seesaw. They're gonna. Oh my god, it's that little, right? I'm going.
It's like a Paw Patrol version, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so
really
painful.
infantile.
I'm like, and they go, oh, I love this. I'm like, right, we're putting in my Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want yours dying. And they watch it.
It's written for students on drugs. That's what isn't it?
Do you know where my boys' faces when they found out Mary Jane was a clone? Their jaws dropped. They're like, because she's been in it for like 6-7 episodes. They got married. Oh my god!
It's written for university students on drugs who thought the merry-go-round was a complicated philosophical kids show, but it wasn't. It just wasn't.
Some of that stuff. So to your point, Jamie, I can't. So if I found a modern day cartoon that I felt it's like the closest thing I can get
Young Justice is awesome. Just saying that, and that's modern.
Oh yeah. No, Young Justice is awesome. But again, is that designed at children?
No, it's for me.
No, exactly. Okay, exactly. The closest
one
thing I
pair
think
of eyes.
Probably Star Wars Rebels, maybe.
Yes, that would say that.
I would say it's very hard.
Star Wars Rebels makes me cry sometimes. So did Young Justice for me. Easy well up. I know, but
modern day cartoon that is designed for.
Don't shake your head with me, old man.
You be told.
No. He's gone full Churchill. Oh no.
Can't be the classics.
Oh well. I've got to say, I don't actually want to leave. I've been enjoying the chat too much, and sometimes I just want to keep going on there. But I've got to say thank you for everyone staying on and listening to us just talk for 5 old men, really, talk about the nostalgic kicks and success and why we love Transformers. And I will say this as a closing statement. I think Transformers has lasted these 40 years. Because no matter the niche or the different variations of the stories that come out, people love it. The writers, the creative team behind it, I might critique and say, I don't like this story. It doesn't mean it's not good. It just means I have bad taste, But yes, it's because the people genuinely love it. And I think that's our strength. It's that everyone in this fandom loves Transformers and they keep pushing it forward from that, and it's an absolute pleasure to mix with people from different backgrounds, who love Transformers and give you an insight into something you would never imagine. And I think that's a great thing, because all these different stories, check all these boxes and that, they really are for everyone because they introduce you to something you wouldn't normally get a chance to be introduced to in society. Meaning, if you ever did come across a certain situation, thanks to Transformers, you're going to have some grounding on that. And I think that's an important thing. It's not a conspiracy theory, it's not some weird thing. I think it's just wonderful, beautiful writing by a great and wonderful community, and that's my closing statement. Thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure. Good night, all.
Bye, all.